Oh, I was muted. I was muted that whole time. Jesus Christ. Well, I was muted for you guys. I wasn't muted for TikTok. Whoops. Let me start over. Welcome to the morning live, everybody. Welcome to morning live discussions. I've been doing these on TikTok for a week or so now, like a week or two. So I figured I would start doing the morning discussions for YouTube and Twitch as well. So good morning. Welcome in. We're going to be live in the mornings from 8 a.m. 8 a.m. onward. So good morning. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. To everybody on TikTok, good morning. To everybody on Twitch, good morning. To everybody on YouTube, good morning. Good morning. How are we doing, everybody? If you disagree with any of the things that we talk about, you can send a guest request. We could talk about it. If you so disagree. But again, these are going to be like panel discussions. So anybody can come up and chat. Anybody can come up and talk. If I know you, you're going to get priority, obviously. Obviously, you'll get priority if I know you. If I don't know you, you won't get priority. It's just the way the news goes. I'm in the wrong country? Sweet. I'll just turn it into the right country then. Revolution time, baby. Capitalism is a great system? No, it's not. Let's get people in here. Let's see what we got today. What should our goal for the live be? I should set a live goal, and then we should okay, this person's not connecting. And then we should set a live goal. Alina, feel free to come on up, friend. Hello, Xena Blaze. How are you doing today?
What's up, Jovan? How you feeling, man?
We're still a little angry at the Dems, but I'm alive.
Why would we be angry at the Dems? I thought it was the libertarians and the third party voters and.
I've never said it was the third party voters. I've always said it was the DNC's fault.
I don't know. At this point now, I just think people don't. I just think people don't care at this point. Whether it's the DNC or the RNC, people just don't care at this point. It could have been a whole other person running in the DNC, and if they were on the same time as Donald Trump is, they probably would have got the vote too. So I mean, at this point, people just don't care. They want hate, racism, misogyny, and all that stuff to run this country. So.
No, I fully disagree. I think the DNC very clearly had Kamala run a very centrist campaign. She didn't stand hard enough against Gaza. She didn't stand hard enough with the workers. She didn't stand hard enough with any of that. And that bit her in the ass. And there's a reason why we saw her campaign lose drastic momentum halfway through. Like she only had 4 months. That momentum should have maintained 4 months. Shouldn't have lost.
Well, yeah, but to be fair, she literally only, like you said, only had like 4 months, right? But I also have to disagree a little bit. Like, I don't think it was more centrist. I think what she was trying to do, because if you understand, right, how Black women have to operate in this country, we cannot be afforded no mistakes, right?
Yeah.
We can't say, right, that we have to be inclusive for everybody, right?
Yeah,
we're not allowed to pick sides. We're not allowed to do none of that, right? And I think one of the main reasons why so many people, did not vote for Kamala, because she wasn't picking sides, which I feel like is a petty reason. But at the end of the day, like it's like if you truly want to see progression and change, right? Yeah, and people are saying that. Hello, good morning. And people are saying that. I kind of
disagree with that though. She made
the tent too small.
I mean, I think it was very bad of her to say, like, yeah, I would have a Republican on my cabinet. Or when asked about trans healthcare.
I think it was Cheney specifically because, if you're trying to send an anti-war message.
Can you let Jovan finish? That'd be
Sorry.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say to say I want a Republican on my cabinet, to say when asked about trans health care to go, well, I just think we should follow the letter of the law instead of saying that we should enshrine it. Everything having to do with Gaza. I think she just really kept towing that line, and I think it's because the DNC wants as much of a centrist candidate as possible.
Right. Well, Jovan, I don't know how long you're going to be up, but I'll be back later if possible. I would love to continue having this conversation.
Yeah, sure. I should be here until like 10:30 or 11.
Oh yeah, I'll probably be back before then.
You guys, I did set a goal for the live. 200 is the tip goal for our morning discussion, but please remember, if you like what the panelists are saying, if you like what I'm saying, gifts are always appreciated. If you're watching on YouTube, like the live over on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch, hi Twitch, love you, mean it. We got everybody going here. We got everybody in here today, so let's just keep it moving with our panel discussions. Alina, good morning. Jamson, good morning.
Morning.
I'm going to do my anti-Jones. Remember to drink a Code Red Mountain Dew and say 3 negative things about yourself.
I love that.
I got to make myself different from Jones. I'm going to bring up a panel of discussions. Jansen was in here first. I'm going to let Jansen go ahead. You're a little loud, Jansen, though, so if you could step back from the mic just slightly.
Yeah, sorry, I'm on headphones.
You're all good. You were just in my ear hitting. I was like, oh.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Is there a prompt? What's up? I just
We're
kind of randomly joined.
Oh,
Open
you-
discussion.
Yeah, you didn't read the box?
I didn't know if we were currently on a topic or not.
Well, we were still talking about, the election where the DNC failed, all that good stuff.
I think they made the tent too small. I don't disagree taking a moral standpoint, but when you take a moral standpoint, the cost of that tends to be isolation. And
Which
you tend to
which moral standpoint? Zero. Thank you for the Venmo. Zero. Everybody say W0 for the $5 Venmo.
oh shit.
Oh, hello.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Oh, okay, he's gone. Good morning, guys. Feel free to we can start discussing. I don't know where Jameson went, but okay.
Yeah, it's good to see everybody on here talking in a professional manner. I know during the whole election process, it seemed like a lot of people were, just doing a lot of name calling, and to be honest,
I'll still name call, to be fair.
I did vote for Trump, and it wasn't just because of Trump. It was because of the people that were kind of going in with him. Kennedy, I believe Kennedy's probably going to do some good things with the health administration. I take pride in health myself, so I see what he's calling out, and it's things that I've done research on my own, and he's speaking the truth about a lot of it. I mean, we got a lot of chemicals in our food that other countries don't have, and so that was a big winning point for me. And then J.D. Vance, I mean, he really did come from a horrible background, and he really did do everything he could to build himself up. I think if the Democrats would have had a better nominee process and would have actually let the Democrat people vote for who they wanted to run, it might have turned out a little better. But
Yemme, thank you for the $5 on Cash App. Everybody say thank you to Yemme. I want to disagree with you on a thing here. Like, Kennedy thinks vaccines cause autism.
There's scientific research that proves there's actually
as an autistic myself. No, they're not.
There's a research that showed that there's a pharmaceutical company that there's 2 types of mercury. They used one type of mercury that they said left the body, but actually what it did was make its way past the blood barrier into the brain. And once it makes its way past the blood barrier into the brain, it stays there. It doesn't go away.
You have no idea what you're talking about.
That's not how autism works, bro.
It might not be autism. You might be right. It might not be autism, but it does cause something else. I might have to pull up
everything you're saying right now. Everything you're saying right now has already been disproven.
Information, but I'll let somebody else talk for a moment. I won't hog it up.
Everything you just said has already been disproven. You just voted for Trump because you're a racist. There's
Yeah.
nothing more to it.
Vaccines do cause addiction to Red Bull, though. That did happen to me. Can we get a study?
Disgusting ass Red Bull. while I crack open my Yoo-hoo.
That's the problem.
No, that's I didn't even think they still made Yoo-hoo.
Yoo-hoos are good. What do you mean?
The best
Nah.
morning drink. But I just got to be honest. I think if you voted for Trump because of the people he surrounds himself with, he surrounded himself with yes men. He surrounded himself with only yes men. He got rid of everybody that disagreed with him, so that way he could do whatever he wants. Kennedy's not gonna disagree with him. He's gonna do whatever Trump wants him to do.
Literally, Kennedy tried to get a job with the campaign, and they didn't respond to him. He just wanted a job in the White House. That's the only reason he went over to Trump. Well, Luna, I don't know how to drink Red Bull. That's quite disgusting.
Chugging a Yoo-hoo like that is unhinged. Out of a can?
You have to drink Yoo-hoo really fast, because after like 2 seconds of sitting out, it gets cold, it stops getting cold, and then it tastes disgusting. Yoo-hoo is only good cold. Once it's not cold, it's bad. So yeah, I disagree with like basically everything Trump wants to do in office. I don't know why we're like, I had somebody in my YouTube comments be like, "You were wrong about Trump." See, and I was like, I wasn't wrong about him. Just because he won the election doesn't mean he's not still a rapist. It doesn't mean he still understands anything about the economy. It doesn't mean he isn't a cheat, isn't a liar, didn't try to overthrow our democracy. All of this stuff is still true. He still did all of this.
So what do y'all have to say about the Houthis calling for a truce and a ceasefire? What do you have to say for Hamas calling for a meeting to stop what they're doing? What do you have to say about all the other leaders all around the world coming
What are you
together,
talking about?
congratulating Trump, and they're wanting to stop what's going on with the war? It's all over if you just do your research and look.
Where did you look this up at?
Like, we don't want to. There's a lot of ceasefires happening.
Wait, the reason why Hamas is calling for an end to the war is because they know that Donald Trump is going to give Israel carte blanche to basically go ape shit. He's already said he thinks Gaza should be a parking lot. He thinks that Netanyahu is not doing enough and should flatten Gaza, should annex Gaza, should get rid of Gaza. He thinks Gaza shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
Also, they've tried to negotiate multiple times, but Israel keeps unaliving their main negotiator. Like Hania. He was their main mediator.
Like, me personally, I don't think, I mean, let's just, we can just look at Trump's, we just look at his record when it comes to foreign policy. It's bunk. Nobody did anything he said they did, right? He made this claim that, oh, I got North Korea to stop testing nuclear weapons. They were still testing weapons. They were still testing them. They signed an agreement with him, and then behind his back said, He's like, there's peace in the Middle East. There's constant attacks on Palestine on Gaza while he was still in office. Constant. This idea that like the Israel-Gaza conflict, or I don't know, the genocide started with Biden is just unrealistically not true, and it's ahistoric. They have been systemically targeting and getting rid of Palestinians since 1948.
Good morning, host.
Morning. Good morning.
Hope you're
I'm
well.
sorry. Someone's username is Show Me Your Kitties, so I have to That's hilarious.
Again, this is a panel discussion, guys, so feel free. Just try not to talk over each other. If it gets too rowdy, I will tell people to shut up. And we do unannounced dropping up in this bitch. So if you're saying shit that we don't like, we'll just remove you and not going to tell you anything.
So I thought I'd just kind of comment, because obviously I'm European and it was a bit of an external perspective. So Donald Trump has said on several occasions about wanting to remove the United States from NATO. Europe is already pretty much at the point now where we're because Donald Trump has won the presidency, of effectively going, well, NATO is now done. Many European nations have already been talking in the past 36, 48 hours about the fact that we are going to have to deal with Russia and the Ukraine situation on our own, because Europe will not accept a Donald Trump peace plan, because a Donald Trump peace plan is effectively a Ukrainian surrender plan, and would effectively hand Ukraine to Putin. And that would just embolden Putin to go after other European nations. We already know that there's been talks between Lukashenko of Belarus and Putin to effectively anchor Belarus inside the Russian Federation, which would turn Lukashenko into a governor for life. And we've got a lot of those sorts of problems. So we are looking at a potential World War III situation. And obviously, with everything that's going on in the Middle East right now, we would be seeing the mass unaliving of a huge amount of people under a Trump presidency. So we are talking real World War III scenario here. And us in Europe, we are very worried right now because there's technologies that all of NATO is currently integrated with each other with, such as the United States GPS system. Now, I'm not on about the civilian stuff that you or I would generally commonly use. I'm talking about the military systems, which are night and day. Civilian GPS is like an old-fashioned CRT TV in its capabilities, whereas military GPS is like a 4K. Hell, I'd even go with 6K. And that also allows the weapons to be that you can send signals to weapons via that system to allow them to change course and avoid things like surface-to-air missile or phalanx-style weapon systems, or hell, even just cancel the flight altogether. And Europe is going to lose those capabilities with Donald Trump removing the United States from NATO. And bear in mind that we've paid a lot of money over the years to not only help build those systems, but also effectively maintain those systems. But they have been in U.S. control.
Trump should be president. I've been doing this for how long? Since 2020. I've been doing this since before the 2020 election. I started debating Trumpers in 2020, and in 4 years, the 2019 is actually when I started, because I started like at the start of the Biden Trump election. In 4+ years, I have not been given a significant reason to vote for Donald Trump. Not one. I'm waiting. I'm still here waiting.
It's not a great reason, but part of the reason I believe is because America, in my opinion, is not mature enough. I don't want to say not ready because it makes it sound like I'm anti-woman. They're not mature enough for a female president, and I do not know why. It's just like
misogyny. It's misogyny.
Yeah, misogyny.
I don't know why I can't I was raised by my mom. I always thought that my mom, like, for the longest, I just thought that just because how my mom raised me, women are inherently stronger, smarter individuals, because that's just how my mom was around the house. Like, she was, if you're talking about gender norms, gentle enough to be, a gentle mother, but also strong enough to fulfill that father role when she needed to be. So I'm always like, women are capable of both. But
I mean, you have to look at what's happened since, like, just in the day since he got elected. There was a massive amount of people online in his camp, right? Who went, oh, well, now we have control over women's bodies, right? That was their first reaction, right?
I saw somebody make a woman, wait, hold on, I'm trying to take a DV joke, and I was like, yo, regardless of what side you're on, like, that's not cool. Like, that's not okay. I've got an 18-month-old daughter, so I'm thinking, like, is this the world that she's like, is she gonna grow up in this world? My wife has said that she doesn't, like, we were talking about having another kid. She's like, I don't even know if I want to get pregnant right now, because what if something happens and I can't do it anymore? So
yeah, at the end of the day, how do I phrase this? At the end of the day, men have this innate drive, this internalized misogyny that exists within them, where they couldn't, because we see, and I'll be honest, in this election, we know because of the exit polls that it was white men and it was Hispanic men. That was who voted heavily for Trump. Black men voted heavily for Harris.
Well, those lot voted for Trump because they've got big D energy while packing Tic Tacs, right?
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
Let me ask: would any of y'all vote for Candace Owens if she ran for any kind of office? Because I would.
Right?
No, we would never vote for Candace Owens.
No way.
May I ask why not?
Because she's just as worse as every other anti-black woman that tries to uphold white supremacy.
The only reason Republicans like Candace Owens, because that's them saying, "Oh, look at my black friend, and she agrees with me, so you should too." Like, what? That's not how that works. Like,
do y'all not remember when Candace Owens said we need to invade Australia because Australia is authoritarian and Australia is that we need to like invade Australia?
I wouldn't do that because the EUs will defeat the US military.
It was a crazy take because Candace Owens, first of all, Candace Owens is the same type of person that likes to cry racism doesn't exist, but like sued her school for racism, but likes to make this big show. She also does this thing, her and Charlie Kirk, where they like to do this thing where they're like, well, black people were better off. They were earning more. They were doing it. This is not true. Like when we look at the actual numbers, black people are earning more today than they did at any point in history. And so they like to use these things to try to decry that racism hasn't always existed. And or that racism was better. Like black people did better before social programs, before blah, blah, blah. But none of the data actually supports this. And every time they're asked for the data, they shut up. They got nothing.
Well, we all know Candace Owens is the sort of person to put raisins in a potato salad, right?
I don't know that, but I could assume.
That's crazy. Again, real quick, guys, we are doing our morning panel discussion. So if you disagree with what we're talking about, or if you disagree with anything on the board, you can hop into the guest requests and I'll let people up. We do got a bunch of friendlies, I think. So if you do disagree, I'm going to save that box for people that disagree. Gift the panel if you like what the panel's saying. Any gifts to Alina also go to the cats. So do remember that you can gift Alina for the cats. You can also my Cash App and Venmo are in my bio. We do morning discussions every morning, 8 a.m. to whenever I feel like getting off in the morning. Pause. Unpause.
What? Anyways, so my anti-Jones morning routine then, I had 3 Popeyes biscuits and I wish nothing but the worst on my soul and my future.
Exactly. We need our anti. By the way, this person, Mr. Pronouns, you don't connect. So fix your Wi-Fi, I guess, but it's not connecting you, bro.
Oh yeah. He told me to go away because I'm not in the US.
Oh man, it's almost like US politics don't affect the rest of the world. Crazy.
Yeah, I know, right? And it's almost like your guy didn't come to my country in 2019 and directly interfere with my country's general election by backing Boris Johnson and the Tory party, also known as the Conservative Party. So
yo, thank you. Real quick, thank you, Kenneth, on YouTube for the super chat. They said, as someone here in Ireland, I am genuinely appalled how many people voted for a man found liable for assault, essay, and tried to overturn an election. But of course, grocery prices are more important. Yeah, by the way, if you guys send a message, Cash App, Venmo, or a super chat, I'll read it out loud and we can talk. We can talk about it as well. But I agree. I think a big portion of Americans, their wallet was more important than human rights. Like just full stop.
Mr. Pronouns, by calling me a man, I'm not going to get insulted about that because I don't go down the culture war route because I deal with my intelligence instead, which is like, clearly going to be
Mr. Pronouns. If you want to have the discussion, fix your internet and then come up and we can dog walk you. What's up, Joseph?
A black mark on it.
Anyways, I'm about to go to work. I'm a teacher, which is
can do tricks with butterfly math.
Huh?
I can show you.
Can show us what?
I still got them. I don't know if I still got them. Yeah, dude.
Oh, you're not talking to us.
So I'm about to go to work as at school. I'm a teacher, so I'm about to go to work and contemplate what it means to have the education department defunded if we talk about certain things that happen in U.S. history that shed a negative light. So,
defunded. We're like, I can't believe we voted in. I'm not gonna say we. I can't believe Americans voted in somebody that literally wants to defund the Department of Education. Not just defund, dismantle, and then they want to wean Title I schools off of funding. They want to no longer provide federal funding to Title I schools. Absolute clownery, bro.
Yeah, and Mr. Pronouns, we all know that you're RuPaul on the streets, so shut up.
Drew, thank you for the super chat over on YouTube. Caitlin, thank you for the $10 Venmo. Thank you for your constant education. What you do is important. Thank you. I'll be educating you guys as long as humanly possible until they get me.
Good morning, panel.
Good morning, Corey. How's it going?
Pretty good. I have a question, well, for you, but also for the panel if anyone wants to answer. Huge fan of your work, Jovan, especially your communist education. You definitely turned me into a communist. So I have a question about, I guess, we know that Trump's policies on the economy are not going to be good for the working class. So he's definitely giving them a false sense of hope. Do you think after the 4 years of his last presidency, it's the way he's going to run things is going to prime the working class to finally say, F it, like this isn't going to work for us?
I'm going to be so for real. I'm going to be so for real. If COVID didn't do it, I don't know. I genuinely thought COVID was going to be our wake up to go, hey, capitalism is not working. It is failing us. The minute there's a natural disaster, we all fucking get fucked. Right? The minute, because remember how much of COVID was, hey, Alina got a kitty lion, guys. W kitty lion for Alina.
Thank you so much.
By the way, guys, if you're not talking, please mute yourself just so that we don't have the background noise as much. I don't know if COVID didn't do it, I don't know what will. Also, just real quick, everybody's like, Hamas wants to stop the war. Hamas has been fucking fighting for a ceasefire since how long ago? This isn't new. Israel's turned down every ceasefire. So please don't do that nonsense. But yeah, I think what we need to do in order to get the people ready for what I believe we need to do is like a mass worker protest. I think we need to spend a lot more time educating. I think not enough people are aware of how capitalism like hurts them. So we need to really hit that education like as hard as possible during this first year, during 2025.
I would also say,
I do think that that C-19 was like I even said it while it was happening. I was telling my husband, like, if they don't pass something, like shit's gonna get ugly like soon. And I think that's why they did end up passing all that relief, because we were on the path. People had too much time on their hands and everyone was getting radicalized. So I think if they hadn't passed the C-19 relief and started forcing people back to work, I think we would have probably revolted.
Yeah,
can I just say that one of the things that people should also be thinking of doing is avoid going to all the large stores, avoid the big corporations, support your local mama and papa stores only as much as possible, because when corporate can't take the money, then they're going to be less able to bribe the politicians.
Yeah, but we got to remember, like, it's really hard to do that in places in the U.S., especially when, like, what is it, 30 million Americans live in food deserts or something like that, or maybe it's 13. Let me see if I can pull the number up. But also, guys, remember to like the live. If you do hit the gift goal, it'll help us stay on the FYP. But like the live, there's 539 of you in here. We should be at least 50K likes so that we stay relevant on that FYP. If you're on YouTube, you should also be liking the live. If you're on Twitch, just chill and watch and look at my pretty face. Is there anybody in the box that disagrees? We could bring you up if you do disagree. I know Mr. Pronouns does, but has terrible internet.
He's too busy attacking me, so it's fine.
Also, remember, I am the anti Mr. Jones. So make sure you drink your Code Red Mountain Dew and say 3 negative things about yourself. Okay. I gotta be different. But I don't know if Jones will be live today. But if he is, we always head over to his live after my live gets done. But yeah, I disagree with your take on capitalism. So send a guest request. Capitalism's garbage. Capitalism kills so many people.
Yeah, like what we need to do is reverse the policies of the 1980s, and that's on both sides of the ponds, because what it has created is multi-generational socioeconomic deprivation that is just ruined so many people's chances, and and we know that trickle-down economics doesn't work. We know that it cannot work under the current system, where these rich people get to squirrel away the vast majority of the money in wealth funds, art collections, and the like. They need to be that shouldn't be allowed, because that money was supposed to be in our pockets, not theirs.
Are we sure that trickle-down economics doesn't work, or do we just need to try a little longer?
I don't know.
I'm for sure it doesn't work.
I don't know, Alana. Can we give it like at least another 40 years and see, and let's just see what happens after that?
Personally, I think we should try trickle down groceries. I think. Have you guys ever seen the movie The Platform?
I watched both of them.
In The Platform, they put there's prisoners, and there's like 600 floors, and they put a bunch of food on a platform, and the food lowers, so the people at the top floor get the most food, and the rest of the food has to trickle down. I think this is what capitalisms want.
Yeah, we also need to re-regulate the banks as well, so that they can't make stupid decisions that could, like, for example, what happened with the global financial crisis in 2008 that cost a whole lot of people globally their jobs, their livelihoods, their businesses, their homes, their health. We need to restore the balance there. I would even suggest, it's going to be hard for you guys to do in the States but as at the earliest opportunity next time round, reintroduce the fairness doctrine, so that the media can't talk right-wing bollocks at people all the time.
I mean, we just have to remember, part of the reason...
Obama is the one that we took that law away, so I don't know why you're blaming Republicans for that.
That took what law away?
That wouldn't allow the news organizations to propaganda American citizens, that was addressed in 1938.
The fairness doctrine was stripped away by Reagan in 1982.
Was it 82?
It was 1982.
I mean, I Google searched it, and the first thing that came up is Obama did not sign a law allowing propaganda in the U.S. In 2013, the claim is former President Obama signed a law in 2012 allowing government propaganda in the U.S. and making it perfectly legal for the media. Also, Shay, it sounds like you're eating something. Could you mute yourself?
Oh,
It says Obama making it perfectly legal for the media to purposely lie to the American people. False. In 2013, Obama signed legislation that changed the U.S. Information and Education Exchange Act of 1948, also known as the Smith-Mundt Act. The amendment made it possible for some materials created by the U.S. Agency for Global Media, the nation's foreign broadcasting agency, to be disseminated in the U.S. He didn't make propaganda. He didn't sign a law allowing propaganda.
No. This is what they do. They like to blame the Democrats for everything, when year on year, every single Republican presidency since Nixon, the United States has done worse economically overall, because the deficit has grown under each Republican presidency. And that is, and you can say, well, the US grew over a certain time, but if the deficit increases by several trillion every Republican presidency, any growth is neutralized by that deficit.
Mm-hmm. 56% of Latino men voted for this. Well, let's remember. Here's the thing. So to talk to the comments, to the people worried in the comments, Trump wants to begin mass deportation day one. There are. It is estimated that 5% of our workforce is undocumented. Do you guys understand what getting rid of overnight 5% of the workforce is going to do. In fact, we can do some numbers. 5% of 160 million is 8 million people. So 8 million workers are going to disappear overnight. What do you think is going to happen when we disappear 8 million workers?
Your supermarkets will basically empty of fresh fruits and vegetables and other goods overnight.
But it isn't even just that. It isn't even just that. I think like the largest employment of undocumented immigrants is like hospitality jobs. Those are all we're gonna lose all of those. We're gonna things are gonna get bad if we do this. We can see evidence of this in states that have done mass deportation. We've seen farms where farmers have had to just let crops die because there's no one to work on the farm. Right. Yeah. And now I do believe that when it comes to undocumented immigrants, that we shouldn't just be we should be allowing them to work more advanced jobs, because a lot of them do have more skills than they're allowed to do. But they do have to constantly do under the table work out of threat of like being kicked out of the country.
And also there's a lot of immigrants that come into not just your country, but also my country, that we just don't have the facilities to vet their education. Because there are people who've got that are doctors, there are people who are engineers, there are people with highly skilled qualifications who, through no fault of their own, have had to escape their home countries, and yet we have got no method, or very, very slow method.
Oh, Alina, did you have enough?
I don't know. I just don't want to.
I mean, if you did it, you got to defend the decision.
Yeah, it's enough. I don't need to be hearing from people across the pond on how fucked up our situation is. Like, this is a internal family convo. We need some people that disagree with the background.
I do have to. Unfortunately, Alina is a mod, and Alina does have those powers. So,
unfortunately or fortunately,
I don't know if anybody in the request disagrees. I don't see any disagreeers right now.
I disagree with the take on capitalism.
Okay, you think capitalism's a good thing?
I do think capitalism is a good thing. I don't think the system that we have now is a good thing. All the bank bailouts, the corporate bailouts, that's not capitalism. If you fuck up and make a fucked up decision, that's on you. If you make a bad investment, that's on you and your company. And if you can't get out of it without filing bankruptcy, then that's on you. Somebody else will come in and buy that factory and not make the same mistake you did.
Wait, I'm going to disagree with this a little bit.
If it wasn't for the bailouts, like, capitalism would have ended like decades ago.
That's not true.
I also just want to point out, like, sometimes it's not your fault, right? Look at what Trump did with his trade war. His trade war with China led to the failure of tons of American farms, and the government had to bail them out, or they were bought up by corporate farms, right? Capitalism is not conducive to small business. Capitalism is so much more conducive to large global corporations. How many small businesses did Walmart run out of town? They could have stayed, mom and pop shops could have stayed open if we subsidized them. Instead, we allowed mega corporations like Walmart to just destroy mom and pop shops throughout the country.
I agree. But do you think Walmart would have grown to the point that it grew if we would have kept the tax bracket of a 70% corporate tax rate, or whatever it was in the 30s and 40s and 50s, when the rich still had money, they still had money to invest, yet the people still had money? You know what I'm saying? Like you can't, these corporations, people think trickle down economics is going to work. These corporations are going to willingly put money back into their own business. They're not. They're going to take as much money out of that business as they can and put it in their pocket. But if you implement a high tax rate on these businesses to where they'd have to pay a 70% tax rate on, just a dumb number, $1 million, But if they bring their profit margins down to 300,000, they only got to pay a 40% tax rate. Then you got 700,000 going back into the businesses where they can pay for employees' insurance, where you can pay for. If you have to reduce your profit, the only way to reduce profit is to add expenditures into the business.
Wait, I think this is missing. This is missing like the biggest crux of when I'm anti-capitalism. It's because I believe that the ideology of capitalism is inherently unethical. Right. When I look at capitalism and how capitalism works as a model, it is woefully unequipped to provide the resources necessary to live for the working class. It's woefully unequipped to do this. You purposely have to hoard. The whole point of capitalism is to hoard. You cannot effectively run a business without hoarding.
I have to disagree. I believe you can effectively run a business without hoarding because we did it for what, 100 years?
No, that's still hoarding. Okay. If there's a water supply and I as a capitalist want to sell you that water, how can I sell you that water unless I keep that water for myself and don't allow you access to this water?
Agreed. But then you would have to forcefully stop people from accessing the water.
Real quick. Jay bought a box for 2 minutes. Jay paid $2 to buy a box for 2 minutes. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, so no, I actually wanted to come up specifically because he brought this up. Like, because this has actually become my biggest concern with the election. You all know what I do. I work in social programs, food stamps, TANF, housing, all that shit. That's literally, I'm sitting outside of that office right now. I'm not concerned about me. I own fucking mirrors. I know I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be good. It's my clients that I'm concerned for because, like, the Republican Party has openly said they want to gut food stamps. They want to gut cash assistance. They want to gut all those social programs. And that goes hand in hand with the problems with capitalism. Because per the Government Accountability Office, 68.7% of people on food stamps work full-time jobs. Per the Department of Health and Human Services, 80% of the people on Medicaid work full-time jobs. So when they want to gut these programs, they're not like affecting the people they say they want to affect, which is, people that aren't working. They're actively harming the American worker.
That was only
I know,
one of your 2 minutes.
I know. That's all I really only needed that, but I'm gonna just chill up here for the entire time because I paid for my time. So I'm gonna stay until the timer kicks me.
Jovan, 2 minutes, $2 is way too low.
$1 a minute. You don't
Walmart
like $1 a minute?
The top three companies on those nationally is going to be Walmart, Amazon, and actually McDonald's. So it's when you want to complain about corporate bailouts, recognize that it's directly attached to those wages because the biggest corporate bailouts in America are social programs, and the solution to those is not to cut those programs, but to make the companies pay more.
Real quick, Future Skeleton paid $3 for 3 minutes of time.
That's how you do it. I'm helping you monetize. We'll pay for time.
We don't have to, but Future Skeleton paid $3 for 3 minutes of time. So welcome in.
It needs to be $2 a minute because what if it's just like someone doing slurs the whole time? Like,
and I'll kick them and keep their money. Capitalism.
Okay.
I love you. Bye bye.
All right. Later, Zero. Future Skeleton, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm pretty sure I have
Future Skeleton, go ahead. You gotta
Sorry,
swipe
guys.
out of your app, friend.
I'm pretty sure I have
Yeah, you gotta swipe out of the app. Just swipe it out and then click back on it. Oh, the one person that disagreed left. Oh, no, they didn't. They're still there. My bad. Oh, okay. Hold on.
I have to restart their timer.
Oh, okay.
What?
That's weird.
Okay.
That's weird.
Is it? I don't know if I'm laggy again.
No, yeah. All you have to do is swipe let the app go to like your home screen and then click on the app again, and that should fix that glitch.
TikTok's not liking you making money this way.
TikTok and never mind, I'm not gonna say that out loud. Let's hold the line. Hold the line, everybody. Also, guys, you don't have to pay for time, by the way. We will eventually get to everybody in the box. Future Skeleton, is it working now?
We are looking for opposition. That would be wonderful.
Especially if you're pro-capitalist. If you're pro-capitalist,
yeah, if you're
please.
pro-capitalist, say Elon Musk in the chat. Mm-hmm.
Elon Musk is the epitome of why capitalism doesn't work. It allows mediocre people with money to think that they are like revolutionary geniuses. Y'all ever seen Glass Onion? It's a real Glass Onion situation. Elon Musk, by the way, the only reason SpaceX exists in the way it exists is because Elon Musk had the capital to run 3 failed launches. 3 failed launches. He had to fuck up 3 times, and he thankfully he had the money because of nepotism to run it 4 times, and the 4th time was a success. All because of nepotism, bro. Am I the only person that sees Future Skeleton still in the box? But I don't
see it twice.
Let me reset the guest request real quick. Oh. Interesting. I still see them in the box. That's kind of crazy. Interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. Also, what's up, Ronnie? I see you watching. Miss you, girl. I don't know where that guy that disagreed went. Okay. TikTok be glitching, bro. Is there anybody that disagrees? Guys?
I've actually decided to be a Republican now. Seems easier.
You're black.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna work out the way you think it'll work out.
I feel like I'm hot enough to end racism. You know, if I just no. Okay. Wow. Damn. Okay,
I don't think you're echoing, by the way. I don't think attractiveness is gonna end racism.
Well, it doesn't hurt to try.
Someone on YouTube said, "What does pro-black mean?" It means I'm going to support black people in almost everything they do. It means I'm pro-black, 100% pro-black. Will never not be pro-black. Full stop.
I just want to say you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So can we see an example for science? Sure. Hold on. This is my life now, by the way. Period. Slide. Ooh, my hair is doing whatever it wants to today. It's fine.
Okay, well, we are looking for ops, guys. We are looking for opposition. If you disagree with the points on the board, send a guest request. We do want to get to 50K likes, so hit the like button. What is it? It's 9 o'clock, so I'll be here for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half more. So if you disagree, and then tonight will be my one-on-one debates with people on YouTube. Tonight we're probably doing trans rights topics. So join us for those.
Not people saying, can you show me the sticker?
The sticker?
Her voting sticker.
It
You had to
took
be-
me a second.
You had to be there.
to remember. I was like, what? You want to? I still have it. I did save it. But here, I'll go put it back on. Actually, no, Devon's not going to
let's not.
do that.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Devon won't like that.
I'm trying to have a serious live.
I know. Sorry. I needed this though. I needed a second of like not thinking about it because I cried on the way home from dropping my kid off at school. So.
Kenneth, what's up? Do you agree with all our points on the board?
Yeah, so I just suppose I'll put it out there first. I think Trump's a fucking dumbass, and I think it's horrendous that so many people voted for him. I'll just put that out. Like, it's weird. Like, how would I say it? I'm very much like, I think the best solution is like kind of social democracy. So like a free market capitalist system with social safety nets. Like a lot of European countries are from European. So for me, that's, I think, the best kind of middle ground, if that makes any sense.
Their middle ground with fascism.
Yeah, it's called being moderate.
So,
Center right.
Center right.
No, I couldn't hear it. So you really cut up there. I didn't hear it.
You were asked if there's a middle ground to fascism.
Hey guys.
So yeah, I couldn't hear that at all. No, I think fascism is obviously incredibly scary, and that's the way America's turning. I don't see. Are you saying that somehow like Denmark or Scandinavian countries is like fascistic or something?
I would say any country that engages in capitalism does so at the detriment of the global South, and therefore cosigns, if not engages in fascism, cosigns fascism.
Hey guys, I have a question.
Yeah, sure. What's up?
Okay, so how many more votes did they need for Kamala to win? How many more votes did they need?
She would have needed like 13 million more votes. 13 to 14, I think, is what the numbers were.
13 million?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So me not voting for anybody wouldn't have made a difference. Wouldn't have made any difference. So.
Well, yeah,
She still wouldn't have won.
one person not voting wouldn't have made any difference, but like it's because there was a mass amount of people that did not vote.
Yeah, even if 10 other people that I know that didn't vote for her, she still wouldn't have won, right?
So you didn't vote?
We still hate you. I still hate you.
Okay.
Wait, you didn't vote?
No problem.
Okay.
You still suck.
Yes or no?
Did you not vote?
I know, but yes or no?
Girl, go get a therapist and deal with your trauma of not voting somewhere else. We tried
Okay,
to
but
warn you.
I do like I wanna keep it civil, por favor.
That was very civil. I didn't use a curse word.
Very nice. I didn't curse once, so.
Cursing is not the only thing that keeps things civil. I'd like to keep my account in good standing. Thanks, guys.
I'll behave. But also, if you didn't vote, why even come up here? Like, you don't go here. You can't sit with us.
Well, no, I just don't like that she's trying to have us make her feel better. Like, oh, like it wouldn't have made a difference. Like, there's lots of people like you that didn't vote, and you guys have to sit with that.
So I have a difference of opinion here. I do believe that I do not criticize someone for refusing to vote for genocide. I do not criticize people for voting third party. If you do the work after the fact. If you do not do the work after the fact, then I think you're sitting at a place of privilege. But if you do the work after the fact, I don't.
Can I tell you why I disagree? Can I tell you why I disagree? Because that's nonsense. Because they just threw away, right? Either way, right? Like Trump said finish the job, right? So this whole argument of, oh, I just don't want to vote for G side, babes, there were two options, right? You not voting wasn't going to make the options disappear. It doesn't mean that that wasn't going to happen anyways, right? Whether you voted or not, there were going to be two options, right? So like you had to pick and you chose not to. You chose to let Black people, brown people, immigrants, disabled people, children, all of the people here lose our rights, access to control to our body. My child now has to suffer and be at risk of to the mercy of the police with immunity now because you wanted your white savior points and a little cookie to pretend and act like that somehow makes you morally superior.
Wait, but I think it's not. I think it's way more nuanced than that. There's a ton of people that didn't vote that are Middle Eastern. I'm not going to tell a Middle Eastern person who's watching their family die to vote for somebody who's actively engaged in that harm. I'm not going to tell them to do that.
I agree with that, and I have also taken that stance. And I won't tell people that they have to vote, especially people more marginalized than me. My issue is this person coming here and asking, like, trying to get some kind of comfort from us when they didn't participate. Like, if you didn't vote, like, don't come to the people that voted for sympathy. Like, we tried, you know what I mean? Like, that's my only issue with that person, is coming in the box and being like, well, my vote wouldn't have made a difference, right? Like,
okay,
go to the diary.
Okay, even with the Palestinian Americans, right? Like, I'm Haitian and Congolese, okay? Like, I get it, the G-side argument and the horrific things that are happening, I get it. But, like, we don't have the privilege to, like, it's still, even when we are from countries that are facing horrific things because of American, like, or Americans helping horrible things happen to our people, like, we can't just say, okay, then F everybody else. Like, it doesn't help. Like, that's not helping. Not voting isn't going to help the people of Palestine or Congo or Haiti or anywhere else. Not voting didn't fix that. So,
we
like, I don't
do have to
understand
recognize that the people of Palestine are saying that that voting for Kamala in their eyes, these people that are there, is the same as voting for Trump. These people that are there, like, this is what's happening to them. The people that we need to have our energy stacked at is not, in my opinion, the non-voters. It's the white voters that are overwhelmingly voting for Trump. We're again letting white people escape culpability by focusing our energy on the people that didn't vote, as opposed to our energy on the people that have been consistently voting against our rights since the dawn of time.
Can I actually ask a question about the Congo? Because I find it very interesting that people on the left have not mentioned this once. So, in terms of we know about the cobalt mines, that a lot of phones, like a lot of materials you need for making the phones. So I haven't seen one leftist mention that 80% of these mines are owned by China, and they're the ones who enforce slave labor conditions in these cobalt mines. I haven't seen any leftist outrage at this, and I think it's really ridiculous. Like, because again,
You're obviously not in the right spaces because tons of leftists talk about Congo.
No. But again, where are they talking about China's implication in this, and what China is not just doing in Congo, what China is doing in Africa in general with their soft power and their soft imperialism? Like, again,
well, it depends on who you're looking at. Like, right? I don't in like these spaces. We're not like sitting here. I'm not sitting here like glazing China or anything, you know what I mean? I'm not like sitting here going like China's the model.
I'm not saying you. No, yeah, but you know the type of leftists I'm talking about, that where it's like they're so anti-US that everything else, like they're basically pro-China and pro-Russia because it's not the US. And I just think we can have that nuanced discussion and say, yes, I disagree with, as you said, the US involvement with genocide in Palestine, but then when it comes to stuff like the Congo, or how China is basically strangling a lot of African countries with debt by pumping money in, and then they're going to have a lot of debt to pay, that no one really talks about that, because again, China isn't US, so not as bad. So yeah, I'm not saying you specifically, but I just find it's weird that a lot of people on the left are not talking about this.
Sure, I just don't see it as relevant to the conversation we're having currently.
Well, no, she was just talking about Congo and like supporting these causes. Like, well, you know what they say about follow the money, and when we're talking about the Congo,
I mean,
that's
listen,
where the money
listen.
leads is
I am very much
China.
in the camp. I'm very much in the camp that like black bodies are going to die no matter who's in charge. We've seen it. Black bodies have died under Democrats. They've died under Republicans. Trans rights are going to be stripped no matter who's in charge. Right? Trans rights were stripped under Democrats. They were stripped under Republicans. I do believe that voting for Kamala would have mitigated harm, but it doesn't mean that harm wouldn't exist. Right? That harm would still exist either way. When it comes to the way people
Because
vote,
of course there's
I
still
think
like
it's
Republican states.
Can you let Jovan finish a thought? That'd be great.
yeah. When it comes
I was
to
just backing them up, yeah.
sure, when it comes to voting and how someone votes, I think that conversation is much more nuanced than just like you didn't vote bad, you did vote good. Right? I think it's such a more nuanced conversation, and voting can only get us so far. Right? We saw under Biden's campaign that the Democrats militarized police. They've been doing it. California militarizes police. New York militarizes police on protests, right? This is still going to happen no matter what we do, because the capitalist machine needs to fuel itself by squashing any sort of uprising that comes through. The only thing that I think is that we will have a slightly better chance at organizing under a Harris. We would have had a slightly better chance of organizing under a Harris campaign or under a Harris presidency than we will under a Trump presidency, right? But the voting time is past now. Now we have to organize. We have to organize past this. Also, Tyler, thank you for the super chat on YouTube. Said, what party ended slavery? The liberals did. Liberals ended slavery specifically. I don't really give a shit what political party you were on. It was progressives that ended slavery. I could care less about the political party. But yeah, if you disagree and you're in the box, let us know. We can bring you up. This guy looks like he might disagree, but he follows me, so maybe he doesn't disagree. Alina, you want to just start bringing people up, and if they agree, unless they're a voice that we don't have, like a marginalized voice that we don't have, but if they agree, you know, flip. Oh, somebody said they disagree.
I can drop down, by the way. I'm having connection issues, so I'll leave you to it. All the best.
All right, you too.
Hey man, how you doing?
Chilling. How old are you?
I'm 28.
All right, and what do you disagree with?
What's called I disagree. I respect, but I disagree with with the top 3 that's up there.
You disagree with being pro-choice, pro-LGBTQIA plus, and pro-black?
Right. Excuse me. The reason why I disagree, and I know it would be an unpopular opinion, is what's it called? Just like I did with the election. I look at everything from a Christian standpoint. You know what I'm saying? I root everything that I do as a Christian, and so pro-choice for one. What's called the Bible's anti-pro-choice, because you know God talks about knowing you before you were formed in the womb. As for LGBTQ, for obvious reasons, and pro-black, Jesus died on the cross for everyone. And I know not everybody's religious, but that's just why I disagree.
Did you vote, just really quickly, did you vote Republican in the election?
I did this time, yes. Yeah, I did.
Okay. Republican policies are directly anti-Jesus, like directly. Like it's not even remotely close. What did Jesus specifically say in Matthew 25 during the sheep and the goats?
What's called? I'm not that versed in the Bible, sir.
Okay, well, I'll tell you. I'm going to read the whole verse for you, and then you let me know if you think this applies to Republicans, okay?
Okay.
When the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, he will sit on his glorious throne. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate the people one from another as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He will put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance. The kingdom prepares for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick in prison and go to visit you?" The king will reply, truly, I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Does this sound Republican to you?
Excuse me. What's called I'm gonna go ahead and just say no, sir.
Okay.
I'm gonna just go ahead and say it.
So it seems sort of contradictory to me that the words Jesus actually said, like the words he said, are not the things we're going with. Instead, we're going to go with interpretations of things like, oh, God knew you before. God also said life starts at first breath. God also condoned abortions with the bitter water. God, like, I think instead to look at the exact words Jesus said, which was, if you're hungry, give them food. Republicans are cutting SNAP benefits. If you're sick, you look after me. Republicans want to cut Medicare. They want to cut Medicaid. They want to remove the ACA. I was a stranger and you let me in. Republicans want to send people back to Mexico. That's not letting in strangers, right? They're going against, quite literally, everything that Jesus Christ talked about.
What it sounds like to me is that it's both two sides to the same coin, because I could point out the multiple things that the people in Harris supports that is anti-God as well. But but that doesn't confirm my reason why I put Republican. The reason I put Republicans because what's it called? Here it is. You say that they don't support bringing in people, but I feel as if they just wanted to be done through the proper channels. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as they do it the way that it's meant to be done, then they could come into America rather than just
incorrect. Because when we look at immigration, Donald Trump specifically reduced legal immigration. He reduced legal immigration by almost 12 million people. He made it harder for them to legally get in the country. He reduced green cards by 418,000 and visas by 11.1 million, right? I don't think if they want people to come in here legally, they would reduce the numbers of legal immigrants. It's the complete opposite of that. But also, honestly, can I just ask you really quickly, what does it mean to be Christian?
Be a Christian is to be a follower of Christ.
So I would care way more about following the direct words that Christ spoke. If we're supposed to be following Christ and his teachings, why are we not doing that?
Well, that right there is the thing. What's it called? The Bible talks against homosexuality, and so because
Did
yes,
Jesus,
it is.
Though? Did Jesus specifically?
Well, it says yes, it does.
When?
It says in
When
the Bible
did Jesus specifically
I'll
talk
explain
against
it. And you seem like you're more versed in the Bible than me, so you can help me out. It says that in the Bible that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, letting you know that Jesus is the Word of God. And so because Jesus is the Word of God, and it's in the Word that, you know what I'm saying, it's, and, you know, not trying to trigger nobody. It's just what the Bible says. You know what I'm saying? It's an abomination to align or do homosexual acts and all this stuff. But that's what Harrison.
Except it doesn't. The only verse in the Bible that would make any claims to that was a mistranslation.
No, actually, it talks about homosexuality 3 times in the Bible.
It doesn't.
Which specific verses?
Remember, I told you I'm not that versed.
Okay. Well, the only one that says like man shall not lie with man was a mistranslation of man shall not lie with boy, where the Bible was putting an interpretation of like don't be a P3-ophile. Right.
But that's not a literal interpretation. That's not a literal read of the Bible of what it says. That's an interpretation. But
it's not an interpretation. It's Leviticus 18:22.
If it says,
if you don't know I don't know why you're interrupting me. I have no idea why you're interrupting me.
My bad. I didn't hear you talking. I'm sorry.
I'm racking my brain. So Leviticus 18:22, Javon is 100% right, because Leviticus 18:23 says don't have sex with animals. And it literally says the word like for carnally lying as opposed to just lying, which it has to do with domination. And it does it is specifically talking about like a dominant submissive relationship, AKA P3DO.
What's it literally... Literal text tells you for a man not to lie with another.
That is a mistranslation. That is a mistranslation. The original text is boy.
What's it called? So
James changed it because he was in the closet in his.
And where is this source coming from? That it's like if so I could do research after all of this if you want me to.
Biblical scholarship across the board.
across. I don't believe that it was a misinterpretation because the Bible.
What you believe is irrelevant. Who's your favorite king of the Old Testament?
What's called King David. The man that
Did you know he was bi?
Real quickly, it's not a mistranslation. It was purposefully changed that way. Like we keep using this word like mistranslate. It was very intentionally changed. Like it wasn't an accident.
I agree.
Not stupid. They that wasn't the one thing they like messed up. Like they very intentionally like changed translations. It wasn't. It was for an agenda. It was never an accident. I want to make that clear to Simon that this was not a daisy. I don't know what this word means, so I'm just gonna put it like it was a very intentional thing for the Christian movement at the time.
And it does say for a man not to lie with another man as he does a woman.
Do you know Hebrew?
Real quick, real quick. To the person asking YouTube, like this is like the discussion is only on TikTok, so you'd have to come on TikTok. We'll be having our YouTube one-on-one debates later this evening. Go ahead, guys, sir.
So, Simon, are you fluent in biblical Hebrew?
No, I'm not.
Okay, cool. So then research the biblical scholarship on the entire chapter of Leviticus 18 and the sexual morality laws, and then you'll know that Jovan is right. And also, I agree with you, Taisha, it was purposely changed. But you said your favorite king was King David. Did you know that King David was punished a few times for violating God's law?
Yes.
When he was punished, it wasn't him that was punished, right? It was always somebody else. Like when he had adultery with Bathsheba, his baby was unalived and his wives were raped, right?
Right.
What was his punishment for having a homosexual relationship with Jonathan?
I can't tell you off the top of my head.
Nothing. There was no punishment because God was perfectly okay with it. David and Jonathan were lovers.
You got a scripture for that, boss?
1 Samuel 18.
All right.
Jovan, can you read the beginning of 1 Samuel 18?
Yeah, give me a second.
Trigger warning. This is biblical smut. It is the Brokeback Bible we're about to read.
You said book 1 of Samuel, verse 18?
Yeah. No, book 1, chapter 18.
Chapter 18, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Chapter 18, Saul's growing fear of David.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you want me to start, from the beginning?
Yeah, right from the beginning. Just the first 5 verses, I think, should do.
After David had finished talking with Saul, Jonathan... Oh, this is the New International Version. We good with that one? I just want to make sure.
It's almost the same in every single version.
After David had finished talking with Saul, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself. From the day Saul kept David with him, and he did not let him return home to his family. And Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as himself. Jonathan took off the robe he was wearing and gave it to David, along with his tunic, and even his sword, his bow, and his belt. Whatever mission Saul... Yeah, that's a little... Oh. Maybe we should take the Bible out of schools, y'all. That's a little spicy.
What's it called? I'm being honest with you. I haven't heard anything in there that told me anything about them being lovers.
You ever stood in front of your best friend and took off all your clothes and then gave him your sword?
But no. Like think of it.
I mean, it's cool. That if you did that, that's cool.
Hold on.
I'm not shaming it. Let your free flag fly. But I'm just saying, I got people I know for 30 years. Since high school, I've known these cats, and I've never taken my clothes off in front of them and given them my sword.
But it did not. It literally just says he took off his robe. We're literally not really putting in a whole bunch of context. Like he was standing in front of him, stripped naked, this, that, from the fifth. He literally said he took the clothes off his back to give it to bro. You know what I'm saying?
Hang on. Let me read. Can we read from the KJV? So King James Version, also gay, by the way. King James. And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him and gave it to David, and his garments, even to his sword and to his bow and to his girdle. I mean, he went down to
the skivvies,
honey. Yeah. Maybe nothing else. I don't know if they had skivvies back then. I don't think so. I mean, the girdle. I think that was the undergarment.
My issue is all of this still. If we're looking at what Jesus said while he was alive, walking on earth, talking to people, he at no point said anything about the gays. No point. He said a lot of things about the wealthy. He said a lot of things about the Romans. He said a lot of things about people that weren't sharing with their resources. He never once said nothing about the gays.
But he did though. Sodom and Gomorrah. Whenever the two angels came into Lot's house, and then the whole city
Oh, I
came
love that one.
and say, "Bring them out so that we may know them." And know them means to have sexual relations.
Yeah,
Who
but
were
that
they?
was inhospitability to angels. Genesis 6 very clearly says that it's unnatural for humans to have sex with angels.
They didn't know that they were.
What was the
angels.
punishment for the town in
It's not that I don't read the Bible. It's just that I can't.
Stop interrupting.
Really quickly, I just want to shout out a comment. Curbs on Twitch. It's not gay if he kept his socks on. W comment Curbs.
So Simon, stop interrupting.
You interrupted me. I was in.
I did not interrupt you.
Yes, you was.
You're a snowflake. What was the
So now we're calling
punishment?
names.
Yes, I am. What was the
All right,
punishment?
well, you have a good day. I've respected you. I've not called you no names. So have a good day.
Snowflake. Okay, cool. But what was the punishment for I'm just going to ask the room. The same thing happened in Judges 19, and there was no punishment for that town, and they were going after a Levitical priest who was a man. No punishment. I'll tell you who was punished in that story. The concubine that they gave those men so they can rape her all night, she was cut into 12 pieces and sent to each tribe of Israel so that they would know what happened. But that town, no sulfur raining from heaven. I'm waiting. No nothing.
If we're looking at the words Jesus spoke, Jesus never spoke out against gay people. It was not on his. He quite literally hung out with prostitutes. Those were his best friends.
For trans people. He spoke up for trans people. Specifically.
You know when he did get real mad was when he went into the temple and saw them selling stuff in his temple. That's when he got real mad, flipping tables. Jesus was with the shits. He was like, "You gonna sell in my house? You gonna do a capitalism in my house? But I just want to reiterate, when it comes to conservatives, they do not follow the word of the Bible. They use Christianity. And they have been for years. We just watched a documentary in my Discord server last night. We watched I'm Not Your Negro, which is a documentary about James Baldwin, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, blah, 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 blah. And in it, there was an interview from the 50s during the time of school segregation. And a woman specifically talked and said, God can forgive schmurder. God can forgive infidelity. God can forgive all of these things, but he cannot forgive segregation. They have been using the Bible since the dawn of the Bible to co-sign their racism. The Bible was used categorically to co-sign the transatlantic slave trade. So this idea that this is something new, that like Christian nationalists have, like, this is not new. They've been doing this forever. Do we have any other people in the box that disagree? Let's check this guy, Stone Man. Let's see if he's still here. Stone Man, what's up? Do you agree with the things we're saying?
No.
Oh, okay. W. Love you.
He said no.
No, I asked if he disagreed with what we were saying.
Oh, I thought you asked if he agreed.
No, I said, did you disagree?
Oh, okay.
Nathan, what's up?
Can you hear me?
We can, Nathan. What's up? Do you agree with what we're saying?
Okay, I'm not crazy. Other people heard.
Oh, he did disagree. Oh, hold on. Maybe I'm crazy, bro.
Hey, you are crazy.
Maybe
you gaslit me, bro.
Maybe I'm losing my mind. For everybody asking, yeah, I do feel a lot better. I think sleeping most of the day yesterday helped kick the sinus infection pretty quickly. But I'm not saying anything until I see how today goes, because oftentimes I'll be good in the morning and then it's just a like I can still feel it. It's right here. Stone Man, I'm sorry. You said you disagreed with us?
Yeah, I disagree.
Oh shit. Well, why?
Well, I mean, I can't say I'm anti-capitalism, because even though I believe capitalism does have some faults, flaws, I don't know what the alternative would be.
will tell you, Jeff. I'm going to put you in charge while I go get a breakfast snack. I will be monitoring the live on my iPad, so if anybody says anything crazy, I'm dropping you. But Jeff, you're in charge while I go. You're in charge of the debate while I go make me some breakfast food.
Me. So you say you're pro-capitalist?
I wouldn't say like the biggest pro-capitalist ever, but like I said, I don't know what the immediate alternative would be that would work and, you know, make our country prosperous if it's not capitalism currently, even with all of its faults and flaws.
Here's a question. Do you think that people should have a place to live?
I think if people are good, hardworking people, they should. And
What if they're not? What if they're not?
Then no.
Then they should just unalive.
Well, like let's say, for example, a serial killer. You know what? I do think he should
Let's
have.
not go to that. Let's say there was a billionaire and he spent all his money at the strip club, $1 billion, and now he has no money. Does that billionaire deserve a place to live?
Yeah, if he can afford one.
No, he can't. He has zero money, remember? So he spent all of his money and now he has $0. So now he's broke. Should he have a place to live?
No.
Okay, so he should unalive. Cool. What if somebody gets laid off of work and they have no money? They're just a regular poor person.
Wait. Why is that your go-to? He should unalive. No, he should try to get a job.
Okay, if you don't have, hold on. If you don't have a place to, you said he doesn't deserve a place to live. If you don't have a place to live and it snows, what happens?
I mean,
you unalive. Cool. So he should unalive. So
cold.
now the poor person that got laid off and they have no money, do they deserve a place to live?
Okay, can you repeat that question again?
Yeah, a poor person, right, who gets laid off from their minimum wage job that didn't provide a living wage to begin with. So they were working paycheck to paycheck, living paycheck to paycheck. They got laid off. So they're getting kicked out of their house because they can't afford rent. Do they deserve a place to live?
I mean, hopefully they get a place to live, but they don't, quote unquote, deserve one. Like who's handing out places to live?
We'll get to that. So they don't deserve a place to live. So if they can't afford a place to live and nobody's giving them a place to live, they should just be outside. And by the way, the person who said you'll catch a cold, if you're outside in a blizzard or in a rainstorm, you've never been unhoused. People unalive that way every single day. So again, shelter, they don't deserve shelter.
Well, you're kind of like asking, do they deserve a Ferrari? Does anyone deserve a Ferrari?
I didn't say do they deserve a mansion. I said, do they deserve 4 walls and a roof?
Well, you know, there should be homeless shelters where people could go and then they get put to work.
Do they deserve a place to live was my question.
Like deserve as in like someone's going to give them one?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say no, because I don't see how that's feasible. Like,
okay, cool. We'll get to feasibility. What about a person who's disabled and can't work? Do they deserve a place to live?
It depends what their disability is. Like, if they have no arms and no legs, then I do think, you know, they should be taken care of. Because
what if they just have like something like ADHD or something where they cannot work because it was deemed so by a doctor?
ADHD, I mean...
Are you a medical professional? No, right? So let's say a doctor who is a medical professional said that the person cannot work for it because of their disability. Does that person deserve a place to live?
So everyone that has ADHD, autism...
I didn't say everybody with ADHD. I said a doctor has deemed that this person that I'm talking about is unable to work because of their disability. So now does that person that I'm talking about, that human, do they deserve a place to live?
So the doctor deemed they're not unable to work.
Correct. The doctor has said they are unable to work because of their disability.
Okay. I think the doctor then, because doctors make a lot of money, can house this person if they're...
So that person, hold on. So that person does deserve a house as long as the doctor houses them?
Yeah, if the doctor wants, he can house them.
What if the doctor doesn't want to house them?
Then, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. This person has to get to work, just like the rest of us has to get to work.
But even though they can't work, they should work, and potentially, like, because if you're disabled and you're not, and the doctor says you're not supposed to work and you do work, you can get injured, right?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so we should risk injury on disabled people so they can get a house. How about food? Do people deserve food?
So I want to tell you that I was once diagnosed with ADHD.
I don't care about you. Like the I, me, my is irrelevant to me. It falls right off my back. I do not care. I was diagnosed with stuff that would make your head spin, and I moved past it, but I don't go to people who were diagnosed with the same thing and be like, why aren't you so tough? I was lucky, right? So my question to you is, a person who, all of the people that I just listed, do they deserve food?
If they can afford it, yeah.
If they can't afford it?
If they can't afford it, then I mean they're gonna starve, like people do every day, like people that don't work.
But my question isn't, are they going to starve? My question is, do they deserve to starve?
Okay, so let's say I don't work and I don't make any money, and I don't buy and I'm not able to buy food. Do I deserve to starve?
Yes. Do you deserve to starve? That's my question to you.
No. Would I deserve to starve if I don't work and don't make any money?
So now you're asking me.
Yeah.
Why are you asking me when I'm asking you? That's weird.
Because your answer, according to your logic, would be no, right? I don't deserve to starve.
I'm with you. You do not.
Here's the reality. Here's the reality of the situation. I would.
Yeah, but you don't deserve to starve. So you're caping for capitalism that would let you starve. We throw away 9 times more food than we eat. So square that for me.
I mean, I do think that's greed. I do think that's
okay.
Greed.
Great. We currently have about just north of 500,000 unhoused people, and the government has an inventory in their inventory of 1.5, 1.7 million single family homes that are vacant. Square that for me.
It's more than that.
So
it's gone up, Jovan?
There are 16 million unoccupied homes in the U.S.
Oh, yeah, I had it off by 10. Yeah, so yeah, you're right.
I had it off by 10.
I had it off by a factor of 10. My apologies. So yeah, so we have like between 600,000 and 700,000 unhoused people, 16 million vacant homes. Can you square that for me?
So
people don't deserve houses if they can't afford it. Remember, that was your position.
So
y'all, if you're spamming in YouTube, you're going to get muted. Just FYI.
So what you're basically saying is, someone should give these people free housing.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm very specific with my language when I say stuff, right? I'm very sensitive to when people editorialize what I say. I said that we have between 600,000 and 700,000 unhoused people and over 16 million vacant homes. So what I would like for you to do is square that for me, since they don't deserve houses. They can't afford it.
Well, what I think is that this country needs to industrialize. And with Trump in office, he said he's going to do this. We need to hold him to this.
Hey, Jovan, there's a guy in Memphis who asked this guy down here a question about industrialization, and he answered that question. Do you have that guy's username? Can we message him and tell him that Stoneman answered his question about industrialization? Was there a guy earlier here that asked about that?
Was there? Or don't ask me, my memory's bad.
Yeah, I don't know whose question you're answering, Stoneman. I'm gonna ask my question again.
Here's just real quick, Jeff, because I've been listening to the conversation, and I think what we're getting at is the glaring fundamental difference between capitalists and anti-capitalists, right? Anti-capitalists believe that people don't inherently deserve the resources they need to live, which we've heard from Stoneman here, that people do not deserve these resources. Stoneman, is this correct? You don't believe people deserve the resources necessary for them to live?
So let me ask you a question. Is this like your full-time occupation?
Sure is.
Okay, well, you're very privileged in that because...
Am I?
Yeah.
What's the privilege? What's the privilege?
I'm going to tell you what I do for work.
Wait, can you just tell me what the privilege is?
That your job is, from what I've seen, I'm sorry, just
do you think this has always been my job? Do you think I just woke up one day and was able to do this for a living? Or do you think worked at it? I've worked multiple fields.
Okay, so let me tell you what I do currently. I work as a cement mason.
Great. Do we see an answer to the question I asked anywhere?
Okay, wait. I work as a cement mason, so I have worked building houses for people. Now tell me, who's gonna pay me if we're just giving away free housing? Because the people that pay me to basically make their, build their houses from the ground up are wealthy people.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just confirming, you build houses for wealthy people.
Well, whoever pays me to.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
So fundamentally, just confirming, fundamentally, you don't believe that people should have access to the necessary resources that it takes for them to stay alive. You don't believe that they deserve this.
Okay. And it's because these people pay me money to build their houses that I have a house. And so I can understand that, okay, these people got money.
Do people build houses without the need of being paid?
I mean, I'm maybe there's someone out there who will do that, but definitely not me.
Really?
I need
So
to get paid.
like Habitat for Humanity doesn't exist?
No,
I've worked with Habitat for Humanity. I've helped build a house for nothing because, people needed a home.
I said there's people out there that maybe do that, but definitely not me. I need to get paid.
Why?
Because I need money
to do what?
To buy things.
To buy what?
Groceries.
Wait, okay, so let's run this back. Let's run this back. We said you deserve these things, so you should be given these things. Why would you need money to buy groceries if we're giving you groceries?
So groceries, gas,
we would
clothing.
give you gas. We would give you clothes. Why would you need money for these things? Yeah, why would you need money for these things if we're going to give you these things?
You furry god Javon would give me?
We're talking about the difference between capitalism and non-capitalism.
No.
Anti-capitalist state
would give me money.
Well, you wouldn't need money. In an anti-capitalist state, money would become a non-necessary tool. This is what we're talking about. I don't think you understand the conversation here. Capitalism is going to commodify these resources so that the only way you can get access to these resources is if you sell your labor to the capitalist. Then they will pay you so you can buy these resources back from them, as opposed to a system where we all have access to these resources and we do for each other simply because we want to see each other thrive, which is how humans existed all throughout history up until the dawn of like colonialization, capitalism, feudalism, what have you. Humans always existed in this sort of framework, right? But I think you're sitting here going, well, I can't build a house for free because how will I afford groceries? Well, you could build a house for free if we gave you groceries, right?
No,
I want to give you the stuff. Why not? Why wouldn't you want to engage in the system that's providing you?
Because it's very laborious work. Like my back hurts all the time because it's very laborious. So you don't have to do it as
often. But let me ask you a question. If I said to you, hey, we will cover your home, food, internet, medical bills, clothes, your kids' education from K through college, we'll cover all of this if you work 2 days a week. Would you do it?
I mean, yeah, if someone concretely give me, I'll do that right now. Can you concretely give me that right now?
Yeah, not right now because we're under capitalism. But if we were under communism, for an example, and we said to the society, hey guys, we need to build X amount of homes. So if we have every person work like 2 days a week out of like let's say we need 100 volunteers. If we can get 100 volunteers to each work 2 days a week, we can get these homes up and running and we'll give you all the things we need. Why would I ever say no to that? I would do backbreaking labor 2 days a week if I only had to work 2 days a week.
Also, Jovan, it wouldn't be backbreaking because see, right now, the people that Stoneman works for, they want to maximize profit. So they're going to limit the labor force. And he may have to do the job that 5 people would do under communism because everybody would work together. They won't hire 1 million people to build a house in capitalism because then that would cut into their profit margin. So they're going to limit the number of people until OSHA says, wait, that's too few, and then make you work that way.
So I just want to point out that a comment says, and it's directed at me, just build the house builder. Oh, I will. Just run me my money. I will run me my money, and I'll build you all the houses you
Why are you
want.
arguing with the comments?
Really quick, guys. I just want to take a break so we can do a little housekeeping. There's 900 of you in here. If we all send likes, we can get us up to 150K likes easy. Please remember to gift the panelists if the panelists are saying things that you appreciate. Please remember that I do have a goal. We have a Cash App, a pay goal, a tip goal. Sorry, that's not a weird pay goal. Ew. We have a tip goal of 200. If you want to, my Cash App and Venmo are in bio. There's 900 of you on the TikTok. If each person sends 50 cents, we'll well hit the goal. If you like morning lives, please contribute so that I continue to do morning lives.
Yoo-hoo.
That's how I afford my Yoo-hoo. My Yoo-hoo. But yeah, Stone Man, it just seems like you have some cognitive dissonance in you about capitalism.
Wait, 1 second. So there's this Maximilian the King who's telling me I don't need to be a stonemason.
We don't debate the comments, friend. We don't debate the comments.
Okay. I need to go to work. On the panel. Okay, and I need to go to work soon, so I just want to ask Jeff something. Jeff, is being greedy bad?
It depends on the context.
Okay. Would you say wanting a lot of something just for self-pleasure is bad?
Let me give you the context so this takes quicker and you get back to work. If you're greedy at the expense of somebody having nothing, then that's bad. If you're greedy and there's a bunch of stuff, like if there are 1 trillion bananas and I just want as many bananas as I can eat until I'm stuffed and I get a headache, but everybody else gets bananas, then yeah, be as greedy as you want to be.
Okay, because you made a point that we throw out a lot of like food, right? That could go to...
There's over 100, I think it's over 100 billion tons of food waste in the US alone. But okay. I can confirm.
Okay, but Jeff, what I don't understand is you're fat as fuck, so you're clearly being greedy and eating a lot of food that could go to...
How come all of these Republicans are chubby chasers? I don't understand why it is that you're all this level of... Jovan,
Jeff, are you
how
fat
many
or
men
not?
do you run into? How many men do you run into that you comment on their physical?
You're on trial. Are you fat as fuck or not?
Dog walked, Jeff. Dog walked.
How many men, Jovan, do you run into that you comment on their physical appearance? And he was waiting for that. He had that on the tip of his tongue. So that you don't get embarrassed next time, Republicans, just slide into my DMs and I'll let you down privately. I'm already married. It's a lot less embarrassing than to just come out here publicly and be like, I like the chubs, and I want to rest my head on your boobs, Jeff. That's what I'd love to do, is rest my head on your
crazy.
Chest. That's
really
what I've
quickly,
been fantasizing about. This is insane.
I do want to say thank you to B. Renese. Thank you, B. Renese, and thank you, Kel, for the Cash App and Venmos. You got it. We're up to 55 out of our 200 goals. We're 1/4 of the way there. If you want to support the morning lives, this is how you can best support them, so I can continue doing morning lives for you guys. Remember to gift the panelists. We do have somebody up in here. We have Trump 2024, but I don't know if he's here or not. Also, if you're in the box and you disagree, please let us know you disagree. We have a lot of friendlies up here, so I want to get to the people that disagree. Trump 2024, you there?
It just hit me that, in addition, he didn't address my argument, because I said, if there is plenty, then being greedy is fine. And you just said, we have plenty of food, we just throw it away. I'm not throwing it away. Clearly, I'm not throwing it away.
Yo, same though. Josie, thank you for the Cash App, Josie. Everybody say W Josie. Clearly, I'm not throwing it away.
I get it. Everybody loves a guy you can climb like a mountain, I understand. I don't know why he's got to be mad about it though.
Laney, oh my gosh.
Not me blushing.
Let's take a look. I don't know how to pronounce that name.
Hey guys.
What's up? Is it Sasta?
Right. I wrote a message.
Sasta?
Sass Taxman.
Sass Taxman.
Okay. It's an old gamer tag. Hey, I did want to say that when they resort to personal attacks, you kind of won the argument.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that, actually. I think sometimes personal attacks can be fun. It's just you gotta like Jeff could have kept going. Jeff could have kept arguing. I think sometimes it's okay to personal attack. Anyway,
I'm sure He sounds like a pretty loaded dude. So,
SAS tax. What do you disagree
think
with?
fundamentally, I think I disagree with a lot of how you guys have been presenting this as a form of ideology of how you would look at how you would take care of people that can't work or anything like that. And I'm not going to sit here and say that people don't deserve basic necessities. And if we look back in history, we didn't have the things that we have today. And when you look at our modern society, I really don't think that the average person can go and develop a hive mind mentality, if you will, like say Indians in the plains would have, where everybody had a specific role within
Indigenous.
The community.
Hi, sorry, Indigenous people. They were not from India. If you're speaking of North America and South America, those are
but anyways,
Indigenous people.
Indigenous people. Well, that's a specific that's a non-starter. Anyways, people here in the United States that were
What do
here
you
long
mean?
before colonialism.
Hang on.
How's that?
Hang
That's
on.
the correct
You could have
term.
just
It's not-
taken the correction, but you decided to be glib about it. So I want to know now why you were glib about it.
Because that's what they've been called for a very long time.
And you
that's
understand
what
that
I've
that's
known them
that
as.
was an incorrect term from
By the
start
colonizers.
because they're not from India. That is a colonizer term. That they do not want to be called Indian.
It's a colonizer term, but
yeah, because it was a mistake of the colonizers
Who
thinking
says?
that they had landed in India because they didn't know how to navigate.
What do you mean? Who says? That's literally the history. They thought they were in India. Why is that funny?
So, anyways, you are talking to an Osage Indian, so I mean, there is that. So, anyways,
okay.
Getting back to it, our topic at hand, not getting sidetracked.
What tribe are you
Were
from?
the people from India or were they indigenous
just like I
to
said.
the land?
What tribe are you
We're
from?
gonna discuss what
Wait,
topic at
wait,
hand,
just really quickly, guys. Just
and
really
I've said
quickly.
it again.
We will. Oh, just real quick. We'll have the conversation. I just want to ask: do you think you should call black people Negro because they used to be called Negroes in the past?
If it's just a word, why are we getting so upset about a word?
Just answer the question.
I noticed the dodge of the question. We'll get back to the topic. I noticed the dodge of the question I asked, but fine. Let's get on to the topic at hand. Go ahead.
Well, I'll answer your question directly. If I say the word Negro, because that's what they've been traditionally called way back in the day, if you're using that word and I'm using that word,
When you say it, you're going to answer the question directly and then dance around the answer. Just answer it directly if you're going to say that. Yes or no?
Why are we getting bogged down in the weeds with these questions when we're talking about capitalism?
The gaslighting.
And all you had to do was say, "Oh, my mistake, indigenous people," and you decided to make it an issue.
The gaslighting is funny too. Like, Jovan, didn't you say, I noticed the dodge of my question, let's get back to the topic? And then he wanted to answer the question, dodged the question, and said, why aren't we talking about capitalism?
Mm-hmm. I did.
What was your question? I'll answer it.
It's fine. We can get back to the topic at hand.
What was your question?
No, we can get back to the capitalism topic. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So it comes down to me personally, it's just a fundamental idea or concept of who has the authority to be a philanthropist. Should we be giving our money to a government or to for all intents and purposes, a government in order for them to see who is deemed fit? Or should we be able to keep our own earnings and be able to give that out as we see fit?
I'll answer that super easy. We shouldn't have money.
An elderly member of our family that can no longer work.
Yeah, it's simple. We should not have
Well,
money.
okay, but at the same time, in our modern society, money is almost a necessity at this point.
Wait, but we're not having a conversation about what it is. We're having a
There's
conversation
set
about what
value
it ought to
of
be.
trade. Well, I mean, how would I'm going to be honest with you here. This is part of the reason why I wanted to come on and talk to you, because you want to make this claim that we could have a society free of any kind of monetary value. Am I understanding that correct?
We could have a moneyless society, yes. We don't need money. Money is just a stand-in for the value that you trade your labor for, or sell your labor for. If we stop selling our labor, we don't need the money.
So there's no... Huh. Yeah, but then how would... Again, you know, let's get down to basics. When we start talking about growing food, how are we going to have somebody grow food?
We would ask who wants to grow food, who wants to take on this, who wants to take on this duty to the community, who wants to help the community by working at the farm.
I grew food for fun during the pandemic. I grew corn in my front yard.
And what would stop me from participating in this society by doing nothing but yet reaping all the benefits?
Because you cannot do nothing. It's like one of the key tenets of communism.
Okay. So
from each according to their ability, to each according to their need.
Well,
if you don't give, you don't get. But if you don't want to grow food, you don't have to grow food. Maybe there's something else you want to do.
I'm excluded. You're missing the point. Now you're dancing around what I'm trying to say. And that is, you either have to force me at the barrel of a gun to work, which is slavery, or I don't deserve the basic necessities that you guys are saying that everybody deserves.
Wait, incorrect. What do you think? First of all, you're not forced to work, right? If first, or actually, let's analyze into a few things. First of all, labor, right? The commodification of labor under capitalism is what forces you to work or starve. In a communist system, there's a whole different labor and work are viewed totally differently. Right? Maybe you don't grow food. Maybe you want to be. Maybe you like being a photographer. That's your commitment to. That's your contribution to the community. Maybe you want to teach. That's your contribution to the community. You're not forced to do anything. You just have to do something, right? And if you can't, if you don't have the ability to, then you would still reap the things because it's from each according to their ability. So some people don't have the ability to do certain kind of work. They wouldn't have to. But in all society everywhere, you have to engage in order to receive. In every society, ever. There is no society where you can engage in the societal standards by isolationism.
Well, the other problem with that is that according to their own abilities, you're going to have significant gaps as far as a modern society. So, I mean, where are we going to have doctors? Where are we going to have, all of these different subsets of industry and different industries altogether where you're just not going to have people altogether unless you incentivize them in some way.
What? You realize that there's so many people that would be a doctor if they could afford to go to medical school. They would do it.
Doctors don't
Cuba's
become
biggest
doctors
export is
because
doctors.
Doctors don't become doctors because they're being paid well. Most doctors are not paid well. Most doctors are real struggling because of how expensive medical school is. Doctors have to put up with a lot of shit that even well-paying doctors put up with a lot of shit that just does not cover.
Oh, and I can agree with you there. However, what I am trying to say is that in your utopian society, who would be a bricklayer, right? How many people are going to flock to being a bricklayer?
A lot of people like doing manual labor. Are you kidding?
Yeah. Some people like building things. That's literally a pastime for some people.
But wait, it's different than this. Because what it would be is we would say to people, hey, who wants to lay bricks for 2 days and then do nothing for the rest of the week? I think most people are going to be like, me. I would go me instantly. When we take the monotonous jobs that we currently have under capitalism and we get rid of those monotonous jobs that we don't need anymore, and we free up the labor force, which is already freed up because there are more people than there are jobs, because job scarcity has to exist in order for capitalism to thrive. When we take the people that are not working, we say, hey, you want to do it? The more people that are in the force, the less labor each person individually has to do.
Tax, can I ask you a question?
Real quick before you get to your question, the only thing that I will say to that is that you take bricklaying like I used as an example. I mean, there is a craft that goes along with that, and it isn't like you can just ask any old person to just hop in there and start throwing bricks. I mean, there's
training exists. Training exists. We can train people.
There's a right way and a wrong way.
Sass tax.
And I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
I have a question now.
I'm saying that
Sass tax.
Hold on.
I just have a quick question.
Hold on, Laney. I just want to let him get through. I'm gonna let him get through his thing first.
All I'm trying to say is that there is so much logistics behind what you're trying to say, and from face value it seems great, but when you start getting into the trenches of the logistics of how even just a brick building is built, all of those materials have to come somewhere. Somebody has to quarry and mine all of the materials. Somebody has to fire the brick. And I'm not saying that it can't be done. I don't want to have this defeatist mentality. I just don't think that once you add the human element to this ideal, that it will actually succeed and work. I mean, what do we do with criminals? I mean, who's going to watch those guys? I mean, there's an endless amount of certain things that would potentially destroy that, and it would the fabric of that to actually work would be so thin and fragile that it most likely would collapse under its own weight once you add that human element of greed and envy and all those other things that goes along with the human condition. That's all I was trying to get at. And how would you combat the human condition?
Wait. Are you making the position that human nature leads to these things? Like the reason we're in this is because of human nature? Because I would fundamentally disagree with this. First of all, I don't believe in human nature. I don't think it's real. I don't think it's a thing that exists. I think humans are socialized, and sans socialization, we would be feral. We would be animals, right? We are animals, but we would act like animals. The only reason humans act in any way they do is socialization. There is no inherent nature to how humans are. That just doesn't exist.
I personally think that we are predisposed to certain.
Yeah, go ahead. Sass Tax. I want to let Laney ask their question.
Yeah, before we get too far away from it,
and then Jeff had a question too.
Yeah, before we get too far away from it, you're talking about these specific vocations, like bricklaying. The people the masons that, or I'm not
also,
sure people that make the bricks. And even when it comes to prison guards, and we can get into that as well, because for the abolishment of most forms of what we think of as jailing and prisons. But all of these are vocations that
was more in reference to how do you handle somebody that steals stuff.
Well, we can get to that, but what I mean is for every vocation, there are people that chose that vocation because they like that kind of work, right? Otherwise, nobody would do it, unless it was paid an exorbitant amount, but there are plenty of jobs that make, just a living that people really enjoy doing. And in many of those, vocations are manual labor. Some people really love working with their hands, building things, and especially when you know that it's not just going to be done for a corporation, but it's done for your neighbor, right? So
also, real
that's
quick,
something
thank
to
you.
consider.
I just want to say thank you, Paint a Piglet, for the Venmo, and thank you, Caitlin, for the Venmo. Thank you guys so much. W's in the chat for the support. Okay. Okay. Do we have anybody that disagrees in the box? There's a lot of you in the guest request, but I don't know if you agree or disagree.
I count that as that I won.
Yeah, let's try to bring up some of the people that disagree. Alina, if we could.
Jovan, my brother, thank you for having me up. But capitalism beckons. I've
Jeff.
staved it off for as long as I can.
Let me bring up the biggest op.
Bye, Jeff.
I don't know what it is. Have a great day. Oh, a capitalist.
The biggest op.
Kiara the capitalist. See, alliteration.
Kiara
All right,
the capitalist
guys.
is crazy.
Oh, baby mama.
Damn.
Hey, how's it going?
Slander that I cannot. Jeff, come back. Gotta drag you now.
No, you're a capitalist now, Kiara. Oh, he's gone. Oh,
Why would I want to be wrong?
is that somebody we don't want to?
That's Lucho. Yeah,
Oh.
that's Lucho.
Sorry, I didn't know that
He's
was
also
Lucho.
Mr. Pronouns.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
he
Mr.
was
Pronouns
the
is
one being
Lucho?
weird.
Yeah.
Oh my God! If you're playing debate bingo on Twitch, that was recurring guest technically. I haven't seen Lucho in forever because he was obsessed with
He's
certain
like one of the
trans
weirdest
people.
alive.
What's up, Dom Hams, Dom Hams, Dom Ham, whatever. What's up? Do you agree or disagree?
Dom Hams, Dom Ham, whatever. What's up? Do you agree or disagree? Dom Ham, whatever. What's
Ain't no way. Hello? And Dom? No? Okay.
That was kind of a sick remix.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Dom, what's up? Do you agree or do you disagree?
My microphone isn't working too well. Hold on.
I think we can hear you fine. I don't have any problems.
Okay, hello.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know. I kind of disagree with your point that there's that many people that are into manual labor. I don't think
It's not about being into manual labor. It's about if the workforce was demonotonized, we would just have many more hands, and those many hands would absolutely do light work if that light work meant that they would eat, live, breathe. I mean, I think if you asked any person living on the street, like, hey, if you do a day's worth of work for me, I'll give you a house, they'll be like, absolutely.
Yeah, and also, have you ever done something that's like a little bit uncomfortable for somebody you love?
Yeah. I don't know. I just
right.
feel
Like we just do things right. Like sometimes we do things that might be a little bit uncomfortable because it has like a greater good. So if I would know that a person would be housed, I would be willing to, lay bricks for a day or two out of the month if that means that I know that my community is going to be thriving.
I don't think they'd have the same productivity because in the sense that the way that the society works is that there's a lot of specialization in certain areas.
That's
and people work extra hours and put a lot more time into their craft because there is that type of incentive. Like they know at the end of the day, okay, when I'm done, I can go on a trip or I can go and do such stuff like that. Like I'm European and I have friends who are from like a lot of these SSRs and like a lot of the Soviet satellite states. And they used to say like there was these whole big shopping centers and there was people just at the end of the day they got their sustenance and they were just standing around in these shopping centers doing nothing. So I don't know. I don't particularly agree with like the system that you have over there where there are no social safety nets or that type of stuff. But I don't think that it has been like proven that communism as a whole is a better system.
Well, I think we haven't seen communism in effect because communism.
But is it possible to put it into effect?
Yes, because society largely as a whole was communistic up until the advent of colonialism. Almost every indigenous tribe was communist in nature. Almost every single one.
Well, I don't know about that. I feel like there's a lot of conflicts that comes into that.
Wait. Let's hold on. Let's just analyze this really quickly. Did these indigenous tribes have a system of private property ownership? No. Did these indigenous tribes have a state? No. Did these indigenous tribes? We're speaking about like tribal living, right? Did these indigenous tribes?
Is this in America? Yeah.
Well, in Turtle Island especially. Like, did these indigenous tribes? Turtle Island would be what indigenous tribes called America before colonialization.
Okay, go on.
It was Turtle Island. So these,
Okay, go on.
this did exist, right? People are able. In fact, I would say the vast in like if we're looking at human history, most human history existed in a tribal nature compared to what we do now. Right now is the small subset of human history from capitalism till today. The larger span of human history was tribal living, where private property was not a thing.
Well, I don't know. I think it depends on where in the world you're looking. Like in a lot of European history, there really was a different system in place. Like it depends on the localization or where you're looking at. Maybe in America it was the case, but across the world,
No, I
there's
don't.
a different system.
I don't think Europeans are fundamentally different than people.
No,
from
I'm just saying the
America.
history was
There's
different.
no, there's of course, but
Yeah.
those would be environmental influences, right?
Yeah,
So especially Christianity as a center, like Christian nationalism has been one of the biggest indicators of how decentralized, how centralized power is. And when you were talking about like people just being in like a shopping mall doing nothing, I think it's because they're excluded from society. I think if you include people in a
was their
community,
jobs.
right? Why do you always interrupt me whenever I'm
Oh,
talking?
sorry. Go on ahead.
No, okay, whatever.
No, go on ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Okay. Yeah, anyway, so you said that they were just standing around. I think if you include them in a community, I think they would feel a sense of purpose. And I think that's been proven, like oftentimes that people that are included in a community, they have a drive to improve that community too.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, but I don't know that exists like where I live, where there are a lot of community initiatives, and I think that's kind of a little bit separate from the current economic systems. I just think that in a system where there is no money and there is no incentive to do jobs that say aren't the greatest, like there are some pretty shit jobs in this world, and
We don't have incentive now. We have coercion.
coercion. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I just think I think that there should be better social safety nets rather than changing the whole system and the way things work. But I can see how the state in your country is a lot worse than in mine, where there really isn't. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yourself.
Social welfare is just like a symptom of capitalism. The reason why like people are reliant on those social systems and the social structures is because there's a lack of capital. And I think if we would just like try to put patches on it, like constantly just, let's just put a Band-Aid on it, let's just give a little bit of healthcare there, and let's just give a little bit to the poor, it doesn't solve like the root issue. I don't want people ever being destitute or be in a position where they would require that kind of welfare. Like I think it's just should be a given, and that's it. Like that's the easiest way to go about it.
It should be a given that social welfare exists, is it?
No, I said a right. Like it should be a right. It shouldn't be a welfare. It's just a symptom because people are forced into a position of poverty in order to receive it. I don't think that we should ever be pushed in a position of poverty to receive human rights. So that would include housing, food, and like clothing and water, obviously, like healthcare. That is just a given.
I think most people agree that no one should be in a position to be like that. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of the advancements that occurred under like at least the current system. A lot of like medical advancements and
real quick. We
go
still
on.
use tons of advantages or tons of advancements that were created under socialism, created like during the USSR.
Oh, yeah.
We use tons of things created then, like the
But I
USSR.
think, that's not communism though, is it not?
No,
I
it'd be
thought that was
socialism.
like something else. Yeah,
USSR
yeah,
was socialism.
I'd agree with socialism. Yeah, it's just.
But
like
real quick, speaking of capitalism, gal, if everybody watching the live right now donated $1, we'd well hit our tip goal for the morning stream. If you want me to continue doing morning streams, support the stream, support the guests, I'm only going to be here for about another 15 minutes to 45 minutes. We are going to end before 11 a.m. Oh, that's right. V Sharp, I did get your Cash App. That was crazy. That was crazy. We're going to have to talk about that later. But I'm sorry. We'll continue, please.
ASMR.
Javon, this cat wants to know if you're his dad.
I am, and I have to go get milk.
Get milk?
But will I return is the big question.
Yo.
Ouch.
Where's Jones?
Sure,
Jones is traveling today.
Her parents.
So he's probably still traveling. You'll see Jones soon.
She already lost her parents once. Now you're saying that you're going to leave and not come back?
Yes. Does anybody else in the box disagree?
All right, let's just do the letting them up and then
letting them up and then going through.
I'm gonna drop
Casmology. Thank you for the Venmo Casmology. Ever say WCAS in the box? WCAS. Someone should
Jordan,
get our...
do you disagree with the background?
They're not loaded in yet.
Oh.
Somebody should get our amount to an even number so that it's not an odd number. I don't like that it's... Can we get to a...
I know.
Matthew said he disagreed, so... Good morning, Matthew. What do you disagree with?
Good morning, guys. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. What do you disagree with?
Well, I've been listening for probably about the last 30 minutes here, and I just find several fallacious statements that you guys made in terms of the dichotomy. Fallacious, yeah. Between the dichotomy between capitalism and communism.
Okay, proceed.
My first problem that I'm having here is, first of all, I just want to say that I'm just chill, I just want to have a conversation. So, the first problem that I'm having here is you guys are stating that through your productivity comes reward of the goods and services provided, correct? Okay, so by what metric unit are you affirming that to?
Well-being. There could be the hierarchy of needs. We see how societies thrive when they are given certain privileges. So we know that the most basic ones obviously are necessary for survival, and communism would be conducive with also self-actualization and the psychological needs that we would need to thrive.
Okay, that kind of just told me nothing.
Well, then you weren't listening. I don't know what else.
Yeah, just because you don't understand doesn't mean that she didn't say anything.
I was listening. I don't understand that.
You asked me by what metric, right? And I just gave you the hierarchy of needs would be the metric. That would be the tool on how I measure how well a society does.
Okay, so we're talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So at the base of that,
correct. So that would be the tool that I use to determine whether or not a society is thriving or not. Is that what you were asking me? How we determine it?
No.
And I said that's a determination.
I'm talking about from an individualistic standpoint. Now I understand Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm a psychologist.
Okay, great. So you would understand that if those needs are met and if people are thriving within that hierarchy, if those tenets are fulfilled, then people are usually thriving, yes or no?
I would absolutely agree that they would be thriving, yes.
Okay, so that would be the metric that I'm using on how I determine whether or not this person, this individual, or the society as a whole is thriving. Because obviously, self-actualization, psychological needs would be different from person to person. But I mean, the baseline would be the same for everybody.
Right, but I'm not necessarily talking about that. I'm talking about from an individualistic standpoint, their contribution to society.
You asked me by what metric we determine how well they're doing. Then you need to ask a different question.
No, I'm asking from an individualistic standpoint. Let me clarify. From an individualistic standpoint, through an individual's productivity, what unit of metric are you using to base their contribution in terms of the goods and services they receive?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I said. And like, I mean, obviously, if their needs
He
are
wants
fulfilled,
you to quantify it to be like this person. This person's input is worth six eggs and two gallons of milk.
it would be each according to their needs and each according to their ability. So that's why I think the metric would be pretty well to determine. Like I just use that tool and see how well they're individually doing based on the needs that they have received and based on the output that they can give and how fulfilling that is for them.
Okay, sure, and that's a good statement to make, I guess. But the next problem that I would have with that would be who is determining who is more productive over another person, and who
each that doesn't need to be. I don't know why
it's
you
not
keep
about
asking
productivity. We wouldn't look at productivity.
It would be fulfillment. Fulfillment is the baseline. So if everybody is thriving and people are doing good, that's the standard when we are like, okay, things are going well. If people aren't thriving, that would be the standard of bad. I don't care if somebody produces 1 egg or 7 eggs. As long as people are fed, then that means it's good. If people are not fed, then it's bad.
Okay, and that's fine. But what about the people that aren't being fed?
That's the point. Like then that would be a bad standard, and we would have to change the productivity output so we can meet those needs.
Correct.
So if we see that we can't just work 1 day a week, but we need to work 2 to 3 days a week in order to meet the demands of the people, so their needs are fulfilled, then that's what we would have to do as a community. It's
okay. And I agree with that 100%. So it creates a scenario now to where if one family or one individual cannot produce as much as another family or another individual, then you are asking that family who can produce more to actually produce more. So
what's the problem with that?
So that person,
even that wouldn't be the case. I don't know why you're looking at it. I don't know why you're looking at it this way. Let's say I have 3 people laying brick, and one person, or well, we don't say. Let's say I have 3 people picking potatoes. 2 people pick 20 potatoes. 1 person picks 10 potatoes. Let's say we find out we need each person pick 20 potatoes. I would say to the person picking 10 potatoes, hey, it seems like picking potatoes is not the thing that's working out for you. Let's find another job that you're going to be more fruitful in, because hold on. You don't really seem to be caring. What you said? I'm sorry. Was I not talking? That's crazy.
Person picking 10 potatoes. That's 10 per person. So that doesn't work with me.
What?
You said 2
keep talking.
Just 20 potatoes and 1 person
Matthew, Jovan was still talking.
Potatoes
when I said 2 people pick 20 potatoes, I meant per person. I didn't mean they together pick 20 potatoes. Each of them pick 20 potatoes. So there's 2 people. Each of those 2 people pick 20 potatoes. 1 person picks one. We have a third person. He can only pick 10 potatoes. Clearly, this isn't a job that he's good at or that he's feeling fulfilled in. So I'm going to say, hey, let's find something that works better for you to benefit the community in, because this is not it for you. And they'll probably agree if they're slow on picking the potatoes.
But what if they like picking potatoes?
Then I'll say you can keep picking potatoes. You can keep picking 10 potatoes. Okay, I'll just ask another person to come in and help with more potatoes. What is the issue here? There are so many.
Why are you yelling, bro?
Because I just need you. First of all, I don't care if I'm talking loudly or not. That's like, who cares? If you are asking questions that have just easily solvable solutions, if you think about them for more than 2 seconds. If he likes picking 10 potatoes, pick 10 potatoes. I'll ask another person to come in and pick more potatoes. If you like doing it, I'm not going to tell you to stop.
And what if you can't get anybody else to pick 10 more potatoes?
You're telling me in my whole society I can't get anybody else to volunteer a day of their time to pick 10 potatoes? Be realistic, please.
I am
realistic.
Being realistic.
No, you're not.
I am being realistic.
No, you are not.
At some point, you're going to run. Yeah, yes, I am. Because at some point, you're going to run out of. Buddy, listen. At some point, you're going to run out of people in order to ask, because nobody wants to do it. Because at that point, you're forcing that specific labor on that person instead of what they actually want to do.
Matthew.
So so we're pivoting here.
Why do capitalists just make up boogeyman arguments? Like it's all they ever do.
It's not a.
Yes, it is. It's a made up argument. Hold on, Laney. Bro, if you're gonna fucking care about the volume of my voice, don't be a child, right? If you care about the volume, yes, you do. If you care about the volume of my voice, you're being a child.
I mean,
yes, you're absolutely being a child if you care about the volume of my voice.
I'm chilling.
I have not spoken to you in any negative way. I've not called you out your name. All I do is I'm talking loudly, and that's fucking triggering the shit out of you. So anyway, I don't know why capitalists continue to make up arguments where they're like, of the 9 billion people on Earth, there's no way we can find people willing to pick 10 more potatoes. Impossible. No, it's not. And we've seen this when we look at the history of how the world has worked for hundreds of thousands of years. Under human society, it has always been that people are willing to engage in communal living if it benefits their neighbor. The problem is capitalism has come in and infected everybody with this greed mindset where it's, I will only do if I am benefiting. I won't do if the other people are benefiting. That is a direct result of capitalism.
Sure. But again, you still have to place a unit of metric on the labor force of the person who is actually being productive, whether it's whether it's less or more productivity, you still have to place a unit of metric on that. Don't you agree?
No.
Why does that also matter to you that much? I think it's like crazy mindset to me. And I would like discourage my child to think like that, oh my God, somebody else did like a little bit of more work than you. Therefore, like they're either less or more valuable. That's like such a weird thing.
That's not my argument.
But it is. Deep down it is.
Not. You're putting words in my mouth.
You're concerned. You're concerned that somebody is not as productive as the other. That's the whole.
Correct.
That's the whole reason of it.
And that's why. Communism falls.
You are measuring.
That's not why communism fails.
Based on productivity, I think, and I'm assuring you, out of the 700 people, I can find probably 600 that will go out for 10 minutes and pick 10 fucking potatoes.
Not to mention with all the like extra time people have, like they'll be able to come up with advancements and maybe create something that can pick the potatoes for somebody.
Like, yeah, we don't have technology, but I just want to say again, to me, it's not about you have to pick X amount of potatoes. It's just, hey, can you pick some potatoes? And then we'll take whatever potatoes we get, whatever tomatoes we get, whatever lettuce we get, whatever wheat we get, and we'll divvy that shit up based on what.
And the other thing too.
I was arguing under your framework because you asked me a question under your framework. I wasn't arguing under my framework. Go ahead, Laney.
Well, no. Well, the question that you presented was that if one person picks less potatoes than another person, and then you would just ask them to stop picking potatoes and find somebody else better to do the job.
I was arguing under I was arguing under the framework you proposed in the question. Go ahead.
Hey, but at that point,
Laney has been trying to speak. I want Laney to speak.
Metric on that person who's producing less. Are you not?
Laney has, because I was arguing under your metric. Laney is trying to speak. I'm going to allow Laney to speak.
Okay. Here's the thing. How often do we need to pick potatoes? At harvest time, right? You plant them, somebody waters them for, a few minutes a day, and then, which is basically turning on the hose, right? At any scale, it's literally turning on the hose. And oftentimes that is automated at this point, right? And then you have a short period of the year, a week or two, if you have a very big field of potatoes, that you're harvesting them. You get the whole community can come out and pick freaking potatoes. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't have to be one person's job. In other words, a lot of these things can be distributed amongst the communities, right?
Who's in charge of that?
There would be like councils and stuff like that, but they're not necessarily leaders. These are community members, right? This is like a co-op, essentially.
Okay, so
right? So
what processes are these people?
Can you let Laney finish before you jump in?
She's
she's
imposing
rude.
several questions that I have, and I need to ask them.
Okay, well, write them down. Write them down.
I am.
Yeah.
Okay, write them down.
What I'm saying is that, like, many of these like tasks, what we used to call jobs, what we could call tasks now, things that need to get done for the community. These are things that like people volunteer for and stuff like that. that don't have to be a job anymore, a thing that someone is tied to for their entire life in order to get a paycheck, in order to get the sustenance that they need and the shelter and things like that and the healthcare. So what it would be is that like you're not tied down to one particular task for the rest of your life. You might be like love working with your hands, but you also love playing music, and so like part of what you contribute to the society is that as well. And you're not getting a paycheck every time you play a song, but the fact that you are providing that artistic enrichment to the society means that you're getting your needs met there, and you don't have to spend as much time doing the manual labor part. And other people can do the same thing. They do some manual labor and some, intellectual labor or artistic labor, and instead of commodifying, and I think that that's the thing that you're having an issue with, is that you're seeing it all as I do this, and so I need more of the resources because I did more than the other person has a disability, is more artistically inclined, so they don't do as much manual labor because they do this other thing as well. I only do the manual labor and I work harder, and so I should have more resources. You understand? So it's about like decommodifying our labor so that we're not selling our labor. We are adding our labor to the community so that everyone thrives.
Also, just really quickly, Raid, if you got something to say, just say it, dog. I don't know like why you're muted and quiet. Like you can just.
Oh no, I was just waiting for Matthew, bro. I was going on complete different topics. I was going over each and every single one of Trump's policies. Because I remember one thing you mentioned, I've been here for like 2 hours trying to figure out how to join this. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the birthright. I actually support the removal of birthright. You didn't mention the specifics of the background of how many people come on visitor visas as illegal immigrants coming in, overstaying their visas, and then deciding to have a child, and it will enable them to have citizenship or get a green card or gain some type of legal residency by coming in through a back door. What are your thoughts on that?
Cool. It's in the Constitution that if you're born here, you're a citizen. I don't really care how you get here to be born here. If you are born here, you're a citizen, full stop.
So this is where I'm from. I'm a first-generation immigrant. I was born here. My parents came legally.
Of course he is.
All right,
so
so
first gens.
It's not about first gens. I know I have various contacts, various people who I know come into America on a visitor visa just for the reason
So does
to
that
have
mean
a
you
child.
want to get deported? Is that what you're saying?
No, I will not. My parents came here legally. Birthright will only be active for people. Are you fucking retarded?
Well,
the policy is for people who.
This is a joke.
Why do they always do that? Like the slur
What do you
eject
think?
button?
What do you think was gonna happen after you said a slur, dog? What did you think was gonna happen? You thought we were just gonna let you stay? The fuck?
And you want to talk like about like, oh well, we're legal, so we're not going to get deported, babe. I hate to tell you, but you need to go read the story of Joe Arpaio, because there was a heck of a lot of actual citizens that got accidentally rounded up in his little, fiasco.
Or look up, and I know that this is a derogatory term, but it's the name of the actual operation, Operation Wetback. Look it up. Lots of citizens were also rounded up and deported along with Mexican immigrants.
Bro, imagine crashing
and
out
that was
so
in
hard that
1954.
fast. You waited 20 minutes to crash out that fast. Anyway, I'm just going to read the 14th Amendment, then we'll get back to our conversation with Matthew. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the states wherein they reside. So I don't give a fuck about whatever legal loopholes you think exist. They don't. To push people out of the country who were born here is to be against the Constitution, is to go directly against the word of law in our country, is to be a fascist. So anyway, go ahead, Matthew.
What processes would determine who the council is in your altruistic communist society?
I didn't listen to the question. Say it again.
Through what processes would the council be chosen through your altruistic communist society?
They'd be voted in by the people.
Yes, it's usually skill-based though. So if somebody's like really great at gardening and they have the best knowledge, it would make sense for them to run as counselor. I mean, it's, you know.
People like leading.
And
I
I would
don't.
say
Like, I don't
we-
want to be a manager. Like, I don't want to.
Yeah, but I would,
Also,
I
real
would
quick,
say
thank
though
you,
that
Brittany.
we should
Thank
follow the
you.
indigenous model.
Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Simon, for the Venmos. Thank you guys so much for supporting the stream. And thank you, Captain Black Sparrow, for the Cash App. Thank you guys for supporting the stream.
So
Did anyone send 20?
Can I just finish my sentence?
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say that our best bet would go with the indigenous model of having the elder women of the community be administrators because they tend to fucking rule at it. The only reason that we ever saw chiefs in the history is because the colonizers came over and would not speak to the women of the indigenous tribes, and so they had to send basically an emissary who was male in order to be able to communicate with the colonizers who didn't understand that women could be leaders.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense to me because weren't chiefs put into their position to combat the tribalistic behavior of the competition of resources through war?
No,
because that's exactly what was going on.
No, never. No,
from
not
tribe
every
to tribe.
No.
Sure, it was.
No, it was not.
Absolutely,
it was not.
What?
You think the Shoshone tribe, who are largely peaceful in like every sense of the word, were putting chiefs in charge to protect the tribe? Most tribes in what is now the California region were peaceful with each other. They did not fight. What are you talking about? They just shared the resources.
That's because they didn't actually. They didn't really share the resources. They used the resources for their own tribes.
What do you think sharing the resources means?
They were using resources for their own tribes because there was enough resources to go around.
So you mean each tribes shared them? They didn't say this resource is just for my tribe. Yeah. So exactly what I said. You just repeated what I said with more words.
No, I didn't. I didn't repeat what you said.
Yes, you did.
I don't.
If there's a lake, and both tribes can access this lake, then they are sharing the lake. Exactly what I said is they shared the resources.
So you're saying that there was no tribal boundaries at all?
Yo, am I being punked, chat?
No.
Am I being punked?
I mean, because you're insinuating that there were no tribal boundaries amongst the tribes of the indigenous people, and that's just false.
I must be being punked. Or we could just.
I mean, you can look it up, bro. You can look up the tribal boundaries of the indigenous people.
We could also just listen. We could also just listen to what Jovan exactly said. He didn't say any. No, you didn't.
I did.
This is why listening is fundamental, because what Jovan said is that the resources.
Are you in control of my ears?
Shared. Yes, I am right now.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'll show you.
In a communist society.
There you go. See, I just muted you. Now I'm in control.
I know that you just muted me because you can't handle.
See, you asked me if I'm in control. Well, watch me. So, anyways, like Jovan said, resources were shared amongst tribes. What does that mean? Now you may speak.
I'm sorry. What does that mean? What does sharing of resources mean? It means the trade in commodities.
No, that does not mean that at all.
Really? Sharing of resources doesn't mean the engagement of trades in commodities and product between two peoples.
No, trade does not
mean that at all.
No, if there's a forest, okay, and it has like an apple tree, and my tribe goes there to pick apples, and your tribe goes there to pick apples, no trade has occurred.
Sure, but you're also not understanding the tribal boundaries that were in place between the tribes that allowed them to be peaceful. So if a tribe came over and picked the apple tree that was on your boundary line, war broke out or battles broke out, and this is absolutely historical.
Incorrect. They didn't have private property, so they didn't have this sense of this is ours because it's on our land.
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
Well,
source?
Then you're mistaken
source? Do you have a source for me?
Tribalism worked with the indigenous people.
Do you have a source for me?
You can look it up. You can look up the different tribes. Go ahead and look it up.
So you don't have a
source.
I will say
no, because that's just willful ignorance at this point.
Thank you. Listen. There were like sort of territorial ranges with very loose sense of what a boundary is. Like there were no, it wasn't like hard borders. Understand? Like it was like our people are right around here, but there was a lot of commingling amongst like neighboring groups, and and there were many groups that didn't have a set area and moved through those individual territories that were like more of like hunter type of societies that followed the buffalo, right, or the bison, and so they would be moving through the lands of others and then also trading along the way, like like resources, and so their sense of like this is our land and we defend it, it was not nearly to the degree of what the world is like now.
But there was still a degree of that measure there. There's still a metric unit that displayed that in the indigenous people and their tribal territories.
What do you mean metric unit?
I just don't think that you're as informed on the indigenous people as
Did he just say metric unit?
Yes, yes, I did.
Yet you cannot provide a source, so it seems like you're not informed because whatever we have said, I can substantiate. Why are you laughing?
You think the indigenous people use the metric system?
Yeah, nervous laughter, always great indication.
Yeah,
so since you have studied psychology, you should be aware of the academic process. If you're making a claim, you should be able to provide a source. And just Google it, gives you an F in an academic
No,
setting.
it's just history. Like
It's just history is not a source. Then give me a historical. Give me a historical source. Then it's not that hard.
Well, you can pigeonhole people on the sources all you want, but I'm just
if you don't, okay, so I'm not going to
conversation.
take you seriously. It's just a trust me, bro.
Well, you're red herring me right now because what
Actually, yeah, I'm gonna throw in every single bill, bro. Red herring.
Also, they defended
ad hominem and blah blah
They
blah.
definitely defended
But you
their
still haven't
territories
answered my question
from
on
Europeans,
what
and so
unit
that's
of
what
measure.
Europeans remember. That's what Europeans wrote down, is that wow, they really defend their territory because they were defending against the Europeans. They were much more intertwined amongst each other. And then when the Europeans came in and they started collecting, they would take a group and influence them to fight against another group. So they basically brought in the barbarism.
So what you're
the
saying
Europeans were the ones
is
that introduced that.
tribes
It was
were not
much
at war
more
with each other
cooperative before that.
Colonialism came into place, is what you're trying to tell me.
Yes, that's accurate.
There were possibly
cite your
minor
source.
skirmishes, but nothing to what the degree of what was brought by the Europeans.
So you're downplaying it.
It's not downplaying. It's actually factual, and I can even provide a source for that if you want.
Tribes.
But anyways,
literally went to war
we
with each
actually
other.
have
Let's get back
somebody.
to my
We
question.
actually shush.
Let's
please.
get back to my
we
question.
We have somebody on the panel that can speak on that because they're indigenous.
I just want to know what unit of measure
Education.
you are placing on
What
the
unit
labor
of measure?
force. That's all I want to know.
Yeah, but we're still on that. You're not going to bring up misinformation and just run away from that. We're not going to do
Again,
that.
you're
When it comes to
commoditizing.
indigenous people. Yeah, no, we're not going to spread misinformation on indigenous people and then just run away from that. We're not going to do that.
I'm not spreading misinformation.
Yes, you are.
No, okay, how so?
They are. So when did these tribes have these issues, according to you? What years were these?
I can't answer that question.
Okay, so would it be pre-colonization, post-colonization?
It'd be pre-colonization, yes.
That's false.
How is that false?
It's completely false.
They admit it.
No, but that's white man history. You can look it up. I suggest you start getting books written by people that aren't white. There were no issues between our tribes. We did have trade, yes, in some areas, like up in Alaska, there's potlatch. You can look that up. But no, there wasn't issues. I'm not done talking. There were issues in Oklahoma when 39 different nations were displaced to Oklahoma. Nations all over Turtle Island were forced to go there due to colonization, and that's when people started going to war with each other, marking out territory and claiming resources. But prior to this, it was not an issue.
Bro has no fucking impulse control. What the fuck?
Matthew, you can re-request when Wu-Tang is done talking because I kept muting you and you unmuted. So until you're ready to stay muted like a good little boy, you're gonna have to re-request.
Somebody just said they were savages using slurs.
Yeah, Dre needs to go.
Yeah, and I also have a source. This one specifically talks about what Muteng just said, like just perfectly accurate, that Native American wars did not occur. The conflicts between tribes were minor and were usually resolved between like two people. There was no warfare. That has only occurred since the Europeans arrived. This is Oxford. That's where you can read the entire book, or even just like this part, the abstract, will help you figure that one out. And that's how you cite the source, by the way.
Oh, okay. So by what unit of measure are you determining the labor force between the goods and services they receive? Is my original question.
That's my. It's usually your. Yeah, no problem. So the unit of measurement is your mom. And now you're going to concede publicly that you were
just
incorrect.
Like a typical liberal,
Yeah.
just like a typical liberal, because you're losing a fucking argument.
She's not a liberal. I'm not a liberal.
None of us here are liberals.
I'm not a liberal.
You should know that,
Sounds
knowing
like
the conversation that we're having.
All
All
right, Javon's gonna talk. I think it's really fucking indicative when you've been crying this entire conversation. You cried because somebody spoke a little loudly.
Been crying,
I'm
bro.
sorry. Was I talking? Was I fucking talking? Learn the skill that 3-year-olds know, and that is when someone talks, you listen. Okay, first and foremost. You cried because I talked a little loudly. You cried when you moved on to the topic when asking these things, and I bring up evidence of human history, and now you start digging into it and people prove you wrong. Now you want to go back to another topic. If you can't handle a debate and you can't handle somebody possibly saying something that might make you feel a little one way, don't fucking come on the internet and debate. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, I have heard less whining from a fucking vineyard, dog. Like, it's embarrassing.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm definitely done. Anyway, when it comes to communist society, everybody, just to give you guys a full thing, we don't need a fucking metric. We don't need a metric. We don't need to say you have to produce X.
Yeah, he literally went right back to that after I had already talked about, like, you're still doing commodifying brain, like, and you're trying to put capitalism onto it. And that's what screws it up every time. Like, stop that.
And I'm in my era now. Like, my misandry has quadrupled over the last 48 hours. So I will just warn you, if you're spreading misinformation, especially about marginalized groups, unless I hear a public concession, I will not move on. And nobody will. You can't just like spread misinformation and just say, well, anyways, like, no, when proven wrong.
Well,
I want you. Yeah, actually, like, I want a public concession. We're going to be like, oh, yeah, I was wrong. I didn't know. I was just a mediocre white man thinking I can talk about things that I have done no research on. When proven differently, I'm just going to move on because I'm too embarrassed. We're not doing that. We're not doing that anymore. Wu-Tang was perfectly describing what happened. I even provided a source, a very renowned source from Oxford. And you still think that you can get away with that shit? No.
One of the things we need to remember, by the way, about indigenous culture is you have to listen to the indigenous people on this, because they are the only ones with the actual record. Because when we look at what happened is they were mass genocided. Most of these tribes didn't keep written records to begin with. It was all through storytelling, right? It was all through verbal communication. And Mutang, please correct me if I say anything wrong here. But it was mostly through like verbal communication. So the people with the history is the people that are of these tribes. The colonizers coming over and writing, oh, all these people were at war with each other, so it was a good thing we came over and took. That's what you're engaging in. You're engaging with the colonialization. Like, come on.
But Jovan, is it really history if a white person didn't write it down?
Shit, bars.
It's always the same people that come in. I just want to debate.
Go
I'm not aggressive.
Sorry, go ahead, Mutang. I saw you wanted to say something.
Oh, I was just gonna say, no, you're entirely correct. I use it as an excuse all the time, and it's the most tired thing I get on a regular basis. Oh, well, y'all were already unaliving each other off, this, that, and the other, talking about sacrifice, and like, you've heard it. I know you've heard it. I don't need to list it off and
we literally know that. We literally know that Columbus made like, shit up, like made up so much shit so that he could get more ships to South America. Like, please, guys, spare me the.
Why would we? Also, didn't he have syphilis? Like, we can't trust anyone with syphilis brain.
No, he literally had relations with animals. With like, what are they called again? The ones that he couldn't confuse with mermaids.
Oh, was it dolphins?
No, in German we call it a sea cow, like literally translated, but I don't know. Manatees. Thank you. Didn't come up. Yeah. So this bro had sex with manatees. I'm not gonna listen to any of your history, bro. I can't. It's just a hard line for me.
I agree. Anyway, that is the end of morning discussion stream. I want to say thank you to all our panelists. Thank you to everybody that tipped during the stream. We hit 112 of our $200 tip goal. So thank you so much. We'll be back this evening. I think around 5 p.m. will be when I'll be here this evening for one-on-one debates. So if you want to come back to debate me one-on-one, we're going to have a different list of topics than the open discussion. We will see you at 5 p.m. For hangouts and for evening debates. Follow me on all platforms if you want to stay informed of when I go live, when I debate, all that good stuff. Panelists, thank you so much. Thank you guys for gifting the panelists. Thank you guys for being here. Remember to drink a Code Red Mountain Dew and say 3 negative things about yourself. Yes, that is 5 p.m. Eastern. Remember, I want to start saying what Sean says at the end of Sean's lives because it slaps so hard, but it's Sean's thing. But Sean says, don't stay safe because safes get cracked. And I love that shit. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye-bye on all platforms. Bye-bye on all platforms. I'm going to slowly turn everything off. See you guys.